Good evening. Welcome to another episode of House Plays Live. It's number 8. Myself, David from the Beer House, and co-host here, Sean at Hopcraft and Ale. How are you, Sean?
Very good, David. Yourself?
Not bad, man. Not bad. Looking forward to another good episode with some fantastic guests ahead of us and some really good White Hag beers to get stuck into. I think we've got 3 guests actually coming from White Hag today. We've got Bob, one of the co-founders, and we've got Gary, one of the brewers, and I think we've got a sales guy, you might pop on as well later on. Later in the show, we've got JC, the beer guy. I know him quite well. We go way back. He worked in the Salt House in Galway, to name one or two, and he's worked all around the UK and Australia, and I think he's down under at the moment he's back home in his homeland in New Zealand. So we'll get his take on what's happening down the other end of the world. We'll probably reminisce towards the end of the show. And at the very end of the show, stick around to the end, lads. We've got some fantastic music from a Croatian-born, Netherlands-based musician at Mala Music. We had her the other night in the tech check, and I think, Sean, you'll agree, she's something to behold. A very nice voice.
Really special.
What are the beers tonight, Sean? Do you want to run through them very quickly? I know we're going to touch them later on, right?
Yeah, I mean, we're definitely rocking all over the world tonight with our guests. And yep, we're going to start off with Keltoy. And then we've also got Atlantean, Little Alkin, which you would only be able to get on tap at the beer house. And then to round off the night, nothing like an Irish coffee, Festanuda to finish it off. So yeah, Dave, what have you been drinking this week? Anything interesting?
What did I have just before I came on? I had Black's new Golden Ticket Double IPA. I didn't win, so I'm disgusted myself. So that was
I didn't win either. Yeah. Do you know what the score was last night as well?
Oh, the soccer, that soccer match that Man United just leaving Liverpool into the top 4, is it?
What was the result though? Who won?
I think Liverpool might have fluked to 4-2 or something like that. Yeah, sure.
There we go. I'll leave it at that. Any interesting beers this week that you've had?
I just told you. Jeez, I just told you. Oh, other than that, been sipping on a bit of little alcohol. I've been in the beer house, all right. Yeah, love that stuff. Just having the sneaky little quarter glass every now and again. What about yourself? Anything in your glass this week? Stood out?
I was dry and bitter. Discovered that new brewery. So another one from Denmark there, Oculus, was fantastic. Also, I was really impressed with this. I found the really big Sierra Nevada cans at Bradley's, the big ones. They actually fill a proper pint glass.
Yeah, they're usually knocking around from Grand Cru in the smaller cans, but yeah, it's good to see the big cans.
It was good.
Hazy little thing and big little thing, wasn't it?
Yeah. Hazy little thing and big little thing. Yeah, you're right.
All right, let's get the boys on. Let's get Bob and Gary on, and we'll introduce them and start getting beer in our glasses. I suppose anybody drinking the beers tonight, there is 4 beers lined up. Drink them at your own speed. Get a second glass if we're running through them too quickly or too slowly. Drink at your speed, whatever you want. I'm probably going to drink 3. Just know me, just because I'm a lightweight. Anyway, Bob, welcome to House Plays Live. Gary, welcome to House Plays Live. Good to have you, lads. How are you doing tonight? Oh, sorry, I've muted you, lads. Sorry, apologies. I'll unmute you there. My mistake. Yeah, it's not often I can shut you up, Bob. Sorry about that. You heard me introducing you there. I accidentally muted you there when you were off screen. Welcome, lads, to House Plays Live. Just in case you didn't hear me, great to have you on. I suppose will we just get beer in our glasses and we'll start chatting about White Hag and where for people that might not know much about White Hag. We're going to start off with everyone. We always make the mistake of start tearing into conversation, and then we 5 minutes in, we forget about no drink in front of us. That people are here for the drink as well. So I suppose Gary, do you want to talk people through Keltoy? I suppose, and we'll get to Keltoy in the glasses.
It's a collaboration we did with a French brewery, Montardy, and it's a college style. So it's the classic Cologne college style. For those people, the biggest thing, when I worked for years in Dublin in bars, and I worked in a craft bar, and we didn't have a craft lager. because there was no craft lagers available at the time. So a Kolsch was always something we went to, and people responded to it that wanted it. Like, and that's kind of where it comes from. Like, you can get the crisp bitterness.
It's lovely, lovely. I had a real Kolsch moment there last week with a can of Gaffel. I think 4 Corners. I started bringing it in. Jeez,
Really?
I could have drank 6 of them. I put it into me and I was like, geez, that's just, there's something really, really thirst quenching about them, isn't there? They're just so sippable and crisp and clean, you know.
Yeah. Kind of a nice little dry finish, and yeah, it's super tasty. Very, very sessionable.
Bob, do you want to, I suppose, introduce yourself a little bit about White Hag, the history of White Hag, and get us going on that?
Well, you're 100% right getting that order of introduction done, because I generally tend to tear into a massive introduction and an agenda, and then a scene setting, and then an introduction of everyone who's going to come down the line. And about 15 minutes in, you look at the DMs, and there's a pile of DMs going, will you open a fucking beer?
Well, sorry, cut across you. You can't outdo Alex Laws last week about it. We asked him about Whiplash and himself, and Sean didn't get a word in for 15 minutes, and I had to bring Sean into the chat. So yeah, White Hag is from Sligo will do.
No, we
go on ahead.
We're from Sligo, but we've a long and storied history with Beer Haus.
Yeah.
Pretty much from the get-go, we've had beer with you guys down there. I think before we were even with Grand Cru, you had beer from.
Yes, I think we were getting beer out of Barry and Fitzwilliam. You were with them originally, weren't you? Yeah.
Yeah. No, they were with a previous iteration of the brewery. So obviously the brewery started with a brewer and a main founder, and there's a bunch of us around the outside who were interested in providing assistance and trying to brought our skills and different professions to the brewery, and we ended up kind of buying out the brewery, doing a kind of a management takeover, and 6 months in, and then we changed distributor to Grand Cru. And in fairness, when you look at Grand Cru as a portfolio, we're in great company, because if you're being distributed by someone who distributes Sierra Nevada, for example, your beer is always going to end up in the right places. I think it's fair to say. And so, yeah, we've with Grand Cru since March 2015, and we've been growing ever since.
They're good lads to be. They're good lads to be involved with. They I think we touched on in a couple of episodes there. You know, they're like the equivalent of, say, the lads in the Swag Man and You're neck of the country. Like, you know, they love beer and they're selling good beer. Anton and the Abbots down our end of the country, Michael and Bradley's, myself in the Beer House. You can see the lads that genuinely love beer, and I think it mirrors what Grand Cru are doing. They're in it for the love of the beer, you know. Yes, they want to make money, but I think they're selling good beer because they love good beer themselves, you know.
Well, also, I don't know if you've ever been to the warehouse, but it's cold chain. It's chilled.
Yeah,
the whole place, the whole thing, from inside the door. The doors are constantly up and down to keep the place at the right temperature. Like 17,000 square foot of chilled warehouse. It's a commitment. That's a huge commitment. Like if you, I've traveled quite a bit. One of my remits is marketing and sales, but sales is kind of export, not the domestic sales. And with that comes relationships with distributors and clients abroad. And one of the things you notice when you land with a distributor, and if they bring you to a lockup somewhere that they've rented and has a couple of pallets in it, versus bringing you to a yard where they've got a big cold chain warehouse, trucks, kegs everywhere, their own quality assurance systems, etc. There's always a really obvious commitment made by the really serious distributor to quality, and that's something you'll get from the likes of Grand Cru, because they've got Sierra founders, Crooked Stave, come from Germany. They've got Weinstefaner, got a bunch of Belgian stuff. They've got Thornbridge, Magic Rock, and then Kinnegar, ourselves, Porterhouse, Trouble, Blacks, Rascals, Galway Bay now. It's quite about it's about the company you keep, I think. Yeah.
it's all good company. You know, there's very few. I mean, you list the ones you listed up there. There's none of them I wouldn't drink. You know.
Yeah.
There'd be none of them. There'd be none of them I wouldn't be ashamed of putting in my fridge or handing to a mate. You know. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
so that's that's us. We're about over 6,000 hectoliter output last year. That's probably going up at the moment. We have a 5,000 square foot brew house or brewery, essentially production facility, and then warehouse beside of about 7,000 square foot in Sligo. A lot of people have been to Extravaganza, so they've seen the place at its optimum when it's washed and cleaned and cleared out and tidied and hoovered. And we pride ourselves on doing that at least once a year for a festival. And we rely heavily on the train next to the brewery at the train station in Ballymote to cart people in and out.
That Extravaganza train is quite legendary, isn't it? It makes the festival.
Yeah,
it really does. Yeah, there's been many a tale and many a beer spilled on that train.
Yeah, many a beer shared actually.
And shared. That train. Yeah. You've got while we touched on it there, do you want to share the news that you were mentioning the other night on the tech check with everybody? I think we got some breaking news regarding the Extravaganza possibly for this year, do we? No? Okay. No. Look at that! Did I spell Extravaganza? Did I spell Extravaganza right? I wasn't sure.
Yeah. You got it. We actually spelled it wrong ourselves on the fucking live stream last year on the big sign behind our heads, right? So we got it reprinted about 2 hours before the festival, and it came out with all the colours were wrong, and the copy was right. So the poor copy went up and went out. We're hoping to have an Extravaganza this year. I think the past 10 days, right? I don't know if this is the same for you guys, but there's been a growing sense of confidence. I think we've gone from like own hand-esque Republic of Ireland to Jack Charlton post-88 levels of confidence and enthusiasm, you know, as a country. Yeah. And we can feel Italia 90 coming sometime in August.
We're almost getting giddy, aren't we? Like maybe it's because the pubs are almost on the verge of opening. Everyone's getting excited.
It's pubs, it's haircuts. Not that you'd know it. I've got an appointment for late June for my haircut. But you've got just a general sense of normality approaching with summer.
Yeah.
So I think there's a sense of confidence. I think there's a sense that we're going to be able to do better things later in the summer, and we're hoping to do some kind of Extravaganza-esque thing. And that's about as much as we can say for the moment. But I would say keep this space open.
Keep the new.
What you were trying to compete with,
and keep it yourself.
What you were trying to compete with Killian with your hair.
Yeah, no. I think you'd go.
What's that?
To Extravaganza?
Oh, I'd go.
If it was on?
I'd go.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think, I mean, obviously it's not going to be, obviously it couldn't be packed in a million years like previous years. No. It'd be a restricted crowd. And, you know, if the weather's good, Jesus, the car park is there big enough. Like, I mean, everybody can stay in their little, there's nothing, you know, there'll be no way people packed on top of each other, like, you know.
No, the idea would be that we'd probably do something outdoorsy with less indoor stuff. We have the space there, as you know. Anyone that's been there knows that there's space for 700-800 people outside easily, and that's just an hour into the car park. The train is the issue, of course. The transport is the issue.
Yeah,
you can't it's been like the Mumbai Express in the past, and you really can't have that happen again.
Yeah, and you're dependent on the train really to get people home and just getting back into Sligo at the end of the night, especially. Yeah?
You're dependent on the train to get people there Friday evening, Saturday morning, Saturday afternoon, Saturday night back into town, Saturday or Sunday morning, Sunday afternoon back to Dublin or wherever you've come from. The train takes the brunt of the weight of transport there. There's a bit of taxi and a bit of buses, but no, it's mainly the train. You guys got a bus before up from Cork?
Oh, Jesus, no. Generally, we drive up ourselves. Yeah, every year I've gone so far, bar the last year, my family have come in tow as well. So they're going, you're going to Sligo for the weekend, and you're getting a nice hotel. We're coming with you. which can kind of put manners on a lad a small bit, which is all right. It's all right. But then the second year, I thought I'm away with it, and then the wife just said at the last minute, I want to go, and I was like, oh. So, and our five-year-old was a lot younger. He was probably 1.5, 2, but I was like, oh, for God's sake. I can say that. I hope she doesn't watch this. I hope she doesn't watch that back. But it's but no, it's I've seen 1 year. Was it 2 years ago? There was a whole lot of kids around in the afternoon, and a whole lot of lads with their families. Like I think Phil Tavey was there with a couple of with his child, and it's a lovely touch, But I think there was a lot of lads just minding themselves as well, kind of going, "Yep, I've got kids at me. Fuck's sake, this is the only way I'm getting here." I wasn't alone.
No, you wouldn't be. You wouldn't be.
Yeah. I suppose bringing yourself in there, getting away from Extravaganza small with Gary. Do you want to tell us what? I suppose we're not going to dwell on. Do you know what? We're here. Bob just mentioned all the happy thoughts there that we're in a good place. Obviously, what happened overnight in the brewery? Were you well equipped to deal with the shit show, as we like to refer to it, back 12 months ago or over 12 months ago?
As in COVID?
As in COVID, yeah. Sorry, we'll call it COVID. Overnight, were you kind of going, we've got beer in tanks, that was destined for kegs, I'm trying to say, that we have to kind of suddenly go, this is all going to can, or did you kind of have to flick a switch and kind of I would say, move on your feet kind of straight away?
Adapt,
yeah, that's the way to put it. Adapt. Sorry, I'm
adapt and overcome.
I'm bad at putting questions. Thanks for telling me, Sean. There.
Got your back.
You're a bit low there, Gary. I think you might have to.
No mic there, Gary.
No mic.
Use Gary, if you can hit the camera mic thing and go to audio, and then select internal microphone for mic. So if you see on the little wheel below the screen, it says cam mic, and then when that opens up, hit audio, and then there's 2 drop downs. One of them is mic. Select internal microphone, but leave the speaker as your earphones. Is that internal? Yeah.
Yous have to join there. I'll just add them to the stream as well, lads. You're invading us here. It's a Sligo invasion. Evening, you.
What up? What's the crack? How are you?
Jesus, nothing wrong with that mic.
No. That's stadium quality there.
How's everybody getting on tonight?
Good man. You got a beer in your glass? I think you were telling me you're gonna have to take it easy. You're up early tomorrow, yeah?
Oh yeah. I have to have a bit of college work to do now tomorrow, so can't have too much of a head on me now.
I hear you. So yeah,
you dragged to the big smoke.
Oh yeah, sorry, yeah. Can't go partying. They closed Portobello down.
Yeah. Do you want to jump in and jump on that question there? You might have heard the question when you were on there about how did the White Hag have to adapt basically when COVID hit, overnight, what did you have to do in the brewery to kind of adapt?
I had a weird one because initially when it all kicked off, I was obviously living in Dublin because it's much easier to pay reps who already live in Dublin to pay their own rent. So when it all kicked off, Paul rang me on the Monday and was like, we could potentially be doing something, so you're gonna have to come down and see if you like it. If you don't like it, we'll see you after. Now, thankfully, I would say I did like it because it's 2 years later now. So, but yeah, ended up moving down to Sligo for 6 months and living in Ballymountain, living in an accountancy office on a makeshift bed. I think I borrowed a blanket from Bob and a bed from Paul, and lived there Monday to Friday, coming back up to Dublin and stuff like that. So we were flat out in the brewery and canning as much as we could, but obviously we didn't have that much cans on site, so that was a whole thing in itself. But it was absolutely crazy experience to live in the countryside. I know you're all probably very used to living in the countryside, but I live in Dublin city centre and traffic doesn't wake me up, but sheep and cows mooing at night, that certainly wakes me up at 3 in the morning, But fantastic. I think we went from strength to strength with a lot of things, and obviously saw a lot more of Bob, which is a good and a bad thing in itself. But look, we got through it anyway, didn't we?
We won't get into the internal.
I was muted. I think.
no,
Can
no.
you hear me now?
Yeah, perfect. Yeah.
Yeah. Bingo. You're back.
Yeah. I might have muted you. I thought I muted you. I'm terrible with this technical stuff. No, we could hear you a small bit. We were just we were basically just I think we just kind of just saying how did White Hag have to basically jump on and adapt pretty much when COVID hit last year. Gary, if you want to go back to that one. There's too many of you. None of us jumping to the question. Go on, Bob. You answer it.
You didn't get any of that, Gary, did you? No, the audio's gone for Gary. Look, the funny thing for us was that we had a meeting on the Monday morning, and we had gotten the kind of a warning from our mates in Brewfist in Milan that there was just an impending shit show, and everything would be kind of wiped out, especially hospitality business. And this was before it had landed here. Like, they had just got it from China because of the trade they do with the Chinese, between Milan and China. And Pietro in Brewfist had a patient one from Cadogna, if you remember, was in his tap room. That closed his tap room, closed his brewery, and then it was just a domino effect around the area. I think it rang me and told me the crack, and I came down to the lads. It was like 2 weeks before, or a week and a half before. It was like, lads, this is a tsunami coming towards us. And then sure enough, a week and a half later, we're there on a Monday going, right, pubs are all closing. That's 70% of our business done. We're going to have to adapt here. So, we ended up with, during that week, just figuring out how we're going to get beer out through off-licenses, retailers, any route we could. And we already had the website set up. So we went out with the Phantom Hazy IPA, and we just said, we've got a double tank of this. We've got over 6,000 litres of it. It's going to go down the drain if we can't keg it, because we had planned to keg it and get it out. And we kind of put out a half appeal type thing for people who are interested in cans of this beer to buy it through the website. And by Friday, it was all hands on deck, packing boxes, packing beer to send to retail, but more so the e-commerce. The e-commerce response was mental, because a lot of off-licenses and stores weren't really sure how to react either, and they hadn't seen the immediate impact of the shift from, say, on-trade and food service in canteens and stuff into supermarkets. Just hadn't happened for a couple of weeks. And it's kind of hard to look back and explain that now, but we ended up packing a lot of boxes for e-commerce, and Hugh was doing it for kind of 6 months in the online store and getting beer, because it was, again, we had to go double shift on the canning line to pack all the beer, because it takes a lot longer to put stuff in cans instead of kegs.
Yeah.
So badly prepared, but not better than a lot of people. We had a website, we had a DPD relationship, we had people around the country who we already had, like Grand Cru had a network of people that they just cranked up to sell a lot more package,
We touched on that last week, Sean. Was it 2 weeks ago? We touched on that with was it somebody? Was it Rascals mentioned that there wasn't boxes to be had, and there wasn't cans to be had, and there wasn't key cakes or simple things like they were just running out of everything. Everybody was demanding the same thing at the same time. It was a big crisis.
And I mean, what's the level of your exports? I mean, you guys are quite popular. I mean, you mentioned Italy already. I know you've done a couple of partnerships with some Italian breweries.
Yeah, we'd have been approaching 50% export in February of last year, funnily enough. And we had about, I'm going to say we had maybe 800 or 900 kegs sitting around Europe, ready to go for Paddy's Day, sitting in either distributors or pub sellers.
We were lined up down in Cork. The kegs
you were indeed
down. Yeah, we were lined up. Yeah, Mark and Grand Cru was there to sell it to me. He rang me and said, "What are you doing for Paddy's Day?" And I was like, "Nothing really organised yet, man. I've been fairly off the ball to be honest. I haven't." And he was like, "Do you want to do White Hag tap takeover?" I was like, "Yeah, bring it on." So I was like, "Thank God those kegs didn't arrive down. They'd be going back."
Yeah. We had a pallet. I'd say a pallet gone to Norway. I'd say there was 12 pallets in the UK. Maybe not more. It was probably 15 pallets in the UK. There's still like we did a beer actually that we were intending sending to a different market, but it ended up going to Brewdog in the UK. It was a 5.5% Puka Berry, big berry we called it, and we just did one batch of it to see how it would work, and Brewdog bought a lot of it for their bars. And if you keep an eye on Brewdogs up and down the UK now, it's appearing on social media now. It's literally coming out of the darkness, and I can only imagine what it tastes like 15 months later. But
sours keep, man. Sours only improve.
Oh man, the pH level in that.
We have a few on the brewery if you want them.
I've heard.
You want to test them out?
Send it down. If it's rubbish, we'll send it back.
Yeah.
No, I've heard that they have a guy in Brewdog. I heard this off the record that there's a guy in Brewdog in Dublin. I'm probably speaking out of QSMO, but that basically that he basically tries everything. So if anything's approaching best before, might be slightly over, he basically is the guy that tries it before it gets released.
In Dublin.
Yeah, I've heard that. Yeah, so yeah, it's interesting. That
they had a guy. They had a guy who I just had gotten to know actually in Scotland, who was essentially the buyer for all their partner beers for all their bars, and it took me a while to get to know him. And I was like, okay, let's do a deal for Paddy's Day, and he just took a big chunk of beer for Paddy's Day, and then a month into COVID, he resigned and left. And he emailed me and said, "I'll pick up with you when I find a job, but I'm out of here." And I was like, shite.
Yeah.
And there's another guy I met who has a fucking great job for Brewdog. He flies around the world doing QA. I met him in Shanghai in a bar, and he just walked in, short ginger guy with freckles everywhere and a Brewdog sock hat. And I was like, you couldn't be more Scottish if you were wearing a haggis. Right, and he is. I know you. Some of you guys before I fucking top of the morning to you or whatever. And he was flying around China, Korea, Australia, just making sure the Brewdog bars were on kilter with their beer.
You guys get around with the tap takeovers around Europe and all the different events. I was in Leeds one weekend and I bumped into what was the lad that used to work with me?
Varley? Paul Varley?
No. He was kind of your marketing very young guy, marketing guy.
Stephen Harty.
Stephen Harty. Met him in Leeds. He's with a good old chat with him. I was in Leeds, struck Manchester for a couple of days, and I noticed that the Leeds Beer Festival was on. Bumped into him on the Sunday. He was like, "Dave from the Beer House, what are you doing here?" So good old chat with him. And I said, "Are you going back tomorrow or what?" And he was like, "No, I'm going back this evening." I said, "What time is your flight?" This was 6:00, and he was like, "I'll leave here about 6:30. My flight's 7:30." I was like, "You've got to get," and he had to get to Manchester from Leeds. I was like, "Man, you're cutting it tight." I went back down to the bar. Their bar was in kind of a cellar. I went upstairs and had a few beers. Went back downstairs to the bar. There was no sign of him. I think the lad in the porterhouse was running the bar. He says, "Is he gone?" "Oh yeah, he's gone." I was like, Jesus, I assume he got home, but yeah, fair play.
Yeah, he had been in London. If I remember correctly,
he'd been in London
to do an event in Mac and Sons on the Wednesday, and then up to Leeds for somewhere else on Thursday, Leeds Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Leeds is a great beer town. Great beer town.
Yeah, you were in good company actually that weekend. I think there was a Demolin bar right opposite White Hag. So I think they put the Europeans downstairs. They had the big American main beer truck upstairs that weekend, and then all the UK stuff was on the top level. But underneath, then everything outside of that was put downstairs. But you ended up in good company. I think Demolin and a few other big boys were there.
Leeds has its own beer ecosystem. I don't know if when you were there you got to go to this place, a place called the Assembly. It's Vocations taproom. And the way they've done it is they've set it up as a bar with 50 taps, and there's 3 food concessions either side, and then one big rectangular room with beer benches and tables, whatever. But it's a phenomenal concept. The food concessions rotate every 6 months, and so you go in, 6 different types of food you want to eat, 50 different beers, 20 different vocations, like 30 guest beers. It's a phenomenal concept. I don't know how it hasn't been done here yet.
Okay, so it's owned by vocation, but then they basically have all these kind of food eateries kind of around the outside of it, is it? So
well, in it, so it's actually downstairs in this big old Georgian building, and it's a big room. It's a one big room. Yeah, and the concessions are all part of their business, but they're separate concessions. So,
clever idea.
Really clever idea. Really clever. A huge room, probably 200 persons eating.
Yeah.
What are your favorite breweries? Like, if you're looking for inspiration, we were talking the other night, and I know you enjoy tasting a lot of things.
Let's try it around. Let's try it around to all the lads there. Like, I suppose breweries, Irish and international, that you admire. We asked this one week, and we were giving out to, because we said what breweries. I think Sean worded what breweries are you jealous of? And so we said we rephrased it. What breweries do you admire, Irish and international?
Mm.
Yeah. All answering.
Big Sierra, man.
Yeah.
Where's that?
Sierra Nevada, is it?
It is indeed.
Yeah.
I actually had their KBS Maple the other night. I think KBS is one of the, when they had it on tap at the beer house and at Impala, and Impala got their pricing wrong because it was so cheap. It was cheaper than Guinness. It was absolutely fantastic. But yeah, I mean, the KBS Maple was pretty good, but Sierra Nevada do some really good beers.
Yeah, some of them are quality. Narwhal in particular, I love that one.
That's a sipper. You just want to sip on that the whole night, and really good quality.
Sip on a few bottles, all right, yeah.
Of course, Bob. Was it last year, Haus Extravaganza? The Sierra Nevada lads were kind of your almost surprised, but you were on at the end. The big guests, weren't they?
Yeah, the three of them joined.
Yeah, you've arrived when you can attract Sierra Nevada onto your Haus Extravaganza. Jesus,
on their weekend.
Yeah,
in the morning time. Yeah, and we drank Narwhal.
But I was amazed. Like, I thought you get one of them, but then all three of them joined. Like, the three owners, Steve Grossman. I get them all wrong.
Yeah.
I won't even try.
Ken and the son Brian, and then Steve was somewhere else in California. But yeah, they make an effort. Like, we had Steve at the festival the year before, and Ken joined us twice for events, and you're like, after 40 years, you're sitting down and he had shite broadband up in the hills in Chico, wherever he was, and you make an effort to join up with these lads somewhere on the west coast of Ireland who you've never heard of to talk about beer.
That's the Wally effect, I'd say, is it?
Yeah.
must be Wally and Grand Crew pulling strings. I was really impressed with that. I mean, I must say. No one, just really down to earth lads. I mean, what I picked up on it, like, But what I actually picked up from that Haus Extravaganza was there was a lot of hinting towards a collaboration between yourselves and them. There was never any further discussions afterwards.
COVID kind of
put all that
up.
shit.
I don't think they don't do that stuff without being on site, And we had a ton of collabs lined up, and a lot of them were down the tubes.
Yeah. It's funny talking to collabs. Like, if you remember a couple of years ago there, I think Irish breweries, every one of them was like obviously collaborating with a brewery around Europe or the UK, and then suddenly every Irish brewery I noticed was collaborating with other Irish breweries, and every beer coming out was a collab. And I said, can anyone brew a beer on their own anymore? And it was a unique selling point. It's like, just say White Hag and someone else in Ireland brewed it together. It was just, you could put it on the can, and it was just it wouldn't say added price to it, but it just added a bit of kudos to it, that it's a collaboration. I'll pick it up. There was a phase there where it was like no one can brew beer anymore on their own.
It just makes it more interesting, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. Anything yourself, Gary, that you look to for inspiration, breweries wise?
Brewery wise,
yeah.
I mean, there's always, there's new ones popping up all the time and everything, but there's certain breweries that I'd love to try that I've never tried. But I'd say Odell in Colorado will be a big one for me. That it was an awakening moment for me the first time I had their IPA.
I think we've all had a moment with an IPA at some point or another, yeah.
Yeah. I think that was the moment when I said, yeah, hops are for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that was it, yeah.
Yeah, they produce some good stuff. I think Lupian is one of my favorite beers. I think I love this. Is it Saint Lupian? That's a cracking beer.
Yeah.
And I mean, Gary, you're born and raised Sligo. I mean, you are the local boy.
Yeah, I am. Yeah, I lived in Dublin for about 10 years, and then the job opportunity came up with the boys to come back to Sligo, and I'd met them in different festivals around, and obviously I loved the White Hag beer. I was delighted it was from Sligo, and I got to know the lads, and then a job opportunity came up, and I was delighted to come home and work for the White Hag.
I suppose it's perhaps a good time. I mean, I've already cracked open my
crack open.
You could just.
Sorry about all the messing with the headphones. I just couldn't get it.
Yeah, you're fine.
Gary, as long as you produce beer, we don't care. Just produce good beer. We don't care about the technology. Okay.
Yeah. I'm going to pop down and get my little Alcan. I forgot to bring it up. So let Gary talk through the little Alcan.
That sounds dirty, David. You can go and get your
little. Are we doing Little Alcan next, or are we doing Atlantean?
The Atlantean, no?
Do Atlantean, so yeah.
I'm going to get my can of Atlantean, so.
Atlantean is, so I have that here. Yeah, I don't have to move.
Yeah.
I have my Atlantean. I'll jump off later.
So talk us through the Atlantean.
So this is our version of the New England style of IPA. So it's big, fairly chewy, a lot of tropical fruit, and really creamy. It's cloudy, and the style itself had became really, really popular in the last few years. People can't get enough of it. I think Heady Topper maybe was the first one that was ever produced. People were queuing around the corners to get. I've never had the pleasure myself, but so this is our version of it. Like a lot of orange you'll get from it, like tropical fruits, like I said before. The mouthfeel is quite complex. A little bit of bitterness, but not a whole lot. Like in terms of IPAs, it's definitely more fruity and a little bit of bitterness at the end.
We've got some real beer lovers here. So I mean, what hops are used in here?
So we use Citra, Eldorado, Simcoe, and Mosaic.
It's funny actually, the draft versus the can. I mean, we pour quite a lot of Atlantean on draft. It sells I'd say I could probably name two New England IPAs that we stick on regularly. Atlantean and Big Bunny, and generally speaking, those kegs, they hang around if we're busy back in the good times, obviously pre-COVID. A night, 2 nights, and that keg hits the bucket, like, I'd often stick it on. I'd often stick it on a Thursday, and I'd have Thursday night off. I'd come back in Friday evening, and I'd say, lads, what happened to that keg of Atlantean or the keg of Big Bunny? It's gone. Where did it go? You didn't sell 55 pints of Atlantean on a Thursday night. We're like, yeah. You did, yeah. You fucking drank it after work. But what I'm getting to with it is like, I'm just saying, haze-wise, the draft just seems to allow for a bit more of the haze than the can. Is that just a can versus drafting? Or?
I just think some of the sediment, it kind of settles to the bottom of the can. If you turn the can upside down just very gently
and give it
and
a 1
back
pour
up again before you pour it, you'll get a bit more haze.
Yeah. Give it a 1 pour. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cracking beer. One of my favourite Irish New England IPAs for sure.
No, it's lovely. I can't drink too many of them, to be honest. I find them very filling, like,
I hear you.
But
are you?
But yeah, really.
Another beer that's on the market at the moment is Fionn. It's back on. I mean that was really enjoyable last summer. Double IPA, is it? 8%.
Which one was that, man? Sorry, I didn't hear you.
Fionn.
Oh, Fionn. Yeah. That's our double IPA.
Yeah, we actually have that on draft at the moment, and in the beer house in Cork. I think we were lucky enough to get a keg when you were packaging there. I think Paul Russell hooked us up. So,
Are you doing takeout pints or just growlers?
we only started back doing pints about 3 weeks ago. We were very slow to be I think everyone in Cork was kind of watching each other. Who was going to be the first to to buckle here and start doing pints? So everyone was doing growlers, and the pints started.
How's it
popping
going?
up, so. It's good. It's good. You know what? When the sun shines, it can be quite busy. The sun doesn't shine.
Yeah.
It's like it's a different kettle of fish, But like where we are, a small bit outside the city centre, we're not getting the same footfall that someone over in the Rising Suns or down in the bodega. Just even though it's only 50 meters away, we don't get the same footfall.
Yeah.
But you're a destination though.
Yeah, a bit like Franciscan and Well.
Exactly,
people go to us, because it's a little bit walk outside.
So
Still in the carpet out Cork.
you mentioned two people there, like you mentioned iconic bars, but there's an awful lot of bars that aren't doing anything interesting, say, for the past 12, 14 months that are going to find it very hard to be relevant to anyone when things open up. Like you're doing stuff even like this tonight that reconnects and connects with your consumers, with your audience, with your community, and keeps them together and keeps them in contact with each other. And you're doing it because you have really good beer, you have interesting beer, and you invest and have invested for years in connecting with great beer, great brewers. I'd hate to be trying to reinvigorate a business that has just stopped for 15 months. It's kind of what separates you.
That was from the get-go. I mean, with the growlers and the bit of takeaway we were doing at the start, I was like, it started out as a kind of a bit of a service to a couple of regulars who were looking for beer overnight, and I was like, we were almost operating from behind a closed door, like a closed curtain. It was like a speakeasy. Like we were sneaking the stuff out the door, So suddenly we went from operating with the blinds down to I opened one blind, the second blind opened, then suddenly the front blinds opened, and then we kind of asked her, look, we're at it now. And then I made a phone call to I think Jeff in the headline in Dublin. And I said, can you actually do takeaway out of the bar? Because a lot of bars were unsure of what the legal standpoint was. And he was like, look, I rang my local sergeant. He said, yeah, rock on. So I rang the sergeant. He said, yeah, rock on, you can do it. So I started doing it. So we started doing it around April and just went at it. And and that, from the get-go, as you said, it wasn't all about making money. It was just basically providing a service and staying relevant,
Staying relevant,
yeah. And
well, I mean, they're definitely not coming to the beer house to see your pretty face, Dave. But it is great beer.
You won't be coming to the beer house one of these days to see my pretty face.
What a fucking stupid thing to say as the pubs are about to reopen. To be honest, I think you should open a website off license.
me alpha male. That's the way it works here.
You ever thought about doing a pub radio show?
Yeah. No, but it's the same with this crack. I mean, when we started this House Size Live, not to get into it, but we started this and we said, myself and Sean turned around to me and he was like, because we were kind of just bouncing texts off each other, and he was like slagging each other. He's Man United, I'm Man United, he's Liverpool, and we were slagging each other. Slagging. What are you drinking this week? And then it's kind of about sport and rugby and stuff. He's like, we should do a podcast. And I was like, man, we didn't really think it through. We didn't think it through at all, Todd. So we thought we'd be doing an Instagram live. And suddenly next week we're using StreamYard, and we'd never even seen it before. So
it goes a little bit deeper than that, because we did bounce it off each other. And then all of a sudden I went through and I had a chat with Dave, and I got the text on the Thursday. It's like, right, we're going live on Sunday with Blacks. Ronan's keen. What? How are we doing this? Shit. And it literally was like 3 days, and then we were up and running. But I mean, fuck. If you sit around waiting for something, it's probably not going to happen. So may as well just jump in head first and hope not to break your neck. And
it was the same with this kind of thing. I just said, look, let's have a bit of crack, and let's have a bit of banter, and let's not get too technical and bogged down in the heavy stuff, like just that's why we kind of throw the odd regular on and someone else from the industry, and a bit of music at the end, make it kind of lighthearted. That's kind of the point.
You've seen obviously the boys in Limerick,
Mother
Max. And they have the lad from Roscommon, Gilhooly, right? And they bring him on, and they treat him like the idiot abroad. You know, he's like the third wheel.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
so I hadn't experienced this until we did the show with them one night, and I was going through the Zoom, and they kept talking to Finny Gilhooly, and I used to read about him on Twitter. And this Finny Gilhooly lad had a massive reputation, long ahead of himself. And I opened the Zoom, and I was looking through the Zoom, and I saw this fella standing in his living room with a pint smoking. Right?
Yeah.
I haven't seen anyone smoking indoors in 15 years, right?
Yeah,
He's standing in his own house smoking and drinking a pint. And and they bring him in every now and then for a bit of crack and to abuse him mainly, and then let him off again. But I think that's a great idea. I don't even know if he works there or if he just lives there.
He's just a Mother Max punch bag, basically.
They give him a slot as well where he gets to ask questions.
Yeah.
Or tell a story. No, tell a story about Mother Max, and invariably he gets pulled before he gets anywhere near the punchline. It's just cruel stuff. They're good crack.
Yeah.
We've got a good question here from Declan, and it's kind of like, it was actually really cool. I actually really enjoyed it as well. The Shamrock Shake, you know, like we had kindergarten around that time, and they had their Rust Bucket, which was kind of, you know, like undercurrent, you know, Paddy's Day and all that. But I mean, you guys really went for it, and I mean, like it was really, really good. Like I didn't really expect it. But it was a good beer.
I concur.
Did you do diplomacy in a former life?
No.
Nah. Gary, do you want to take that there?
Please.
You take the beer and I'll take the reaction.
The Shamrock Shake wasn't a concept I was involved in, to be honest with you, because I'd never even had a Shamrock Shake in all my life. Like, so, I thought it was interesting beer to make, but I wasn't a massive fan of it personally. Like, you know, I found the taste kind of. I never had a Shamrock Shake, so I didn't know what to.
You had no reference point. You had no reference point at all.
Yeah, I had no reference point for it. Like, you know.
Yeah.
If you've ever had a Shamrock Shake, it is identical.
It's on the money.
Really?
Yeah.
I haven't had a Shamrock Shake.
It's on the money. It is
vanilla mint. Like, it's perfect. Like, if you don't like that's what I kept saying to people when they were giving out to me, saying it's crap beer. It's just, I was like, if you don't like Shamrock Shake, why did you buy it?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
But you know what? The concept of this is great because everyone wants to put in like food coloring into all the beers. You know, you dye the river green in Boston or whatever. But I mean, you guys actually came out with like a green beer celebrating it. Like, I just thought it was on point and fucking awesome. Like, it really, really was good.
One of the things to remember there is that so if you like Festa as an Irish coffee, or you like dark brew with salted caramel as a dessert, or Black Forest as a dessert, that is a skill in itself in replicating a food or a beverage as a beer. And the lads absolutely nailed Shamrock Shake for what it needed to be. But the reaction abroad was bizarre. Like, there was so Denmark, for example, is extremely beer nerdy. Like, they live off Untapped up there, and the same in Netherlands. And I was talking to Nisha McNamara, who owns and runs the Shamrock Inn in Denmark, in Copenhagen, and Gary's been there, and he was like, it's the talk of the beer scene over here. Everyone's trying to get their hands on it, and they only got like 30 cases into the country. It went down phenomenally well. And when I say phenomenally well, people hated it or loved it. It was pure Marmite. But you can't argue with the fact that it was well made. And to Hugh's point, don't try and drink something minty if you don't like mint.
True. I concur. I think as many people out there bought it out of interest, and just because they were like, what can it taste like? But then I honestly was like looking at some people just dissing it on Untapped and kind of going, look, they're just I don't like mint, as you said. Come on, man, you know. If you don't like,
you ever see those dickheads on Untapped who go, I don't drink sour beers.
Oh, that drives
why
me nuts.
Why didn't you review a Snickers?
I've got
why are you reviewing something that shouldn't be on Untapped because you don't like it?
I've got pet
We
hates.
get that all the time with Putin.
I've got pet hates on Untapped, man. It's like, you know, the lad that reviews the beer and he hasn't got the correct glassware, and say he turns the glassware the other way because he doesn't want to have the Trouble Brewing logo next to the White Hag beer.
No one wants Trouble Brewing logo.
Oh, whoa!
Come here. We have the
We sent a
weekly.
recording to Steve.
We have the weekly clinch. We have the weekly clinch flag here, so work away.
Well, as you know, I'm a man who doesn't buy beer in supermarkets since they delisted me. I can't help but think Steve doesn't even smoke, but I can't help but think smoking would suit him. Well, as you fucking know myself, I'm not into talking to people.
Come here, the accent's on.
He was a legend, though.
He is a legend. He's
a legend. There's a legendary photo of Steve, and I let Q and Gary take the role. Take line after this, and I'll go and try to find the photo, and we'll share it. Right? It's the ultimate Steve Clinch photo. He's at the big grill, and the place is heaving, and the bar is packed. And people are trying to get beer, and it's a sunny evening. And behind the bar, there's a couch, and he's sitting back.
I've seen it. I've seen that
on his phone. You've seen that photo?
Like was that not House Extravaganza? No, was he doing the same?
It was like a big grill. That same crack everywhere he goes.
But I think he was doing the same. Was he? He was at House Extravaganza last year, wasn't he?
He came down. Yeah, he stayed with me actually.
But yeah, I think he caught him off screen as well. The same lark, leaning across the couch with the feet up and.
You're right, he was. Exact same pose. And I wouldn't mind. We had about 50 people in the brewery being COVID safe, but that was the limit of it. And Steve was going out of his way not to talk to anyone. At one stage, he was sitting up on a pallet of kegs, having a beer, watching, but not talking to anyone. He's the most unsocial social person you'll ever meet.
He's the nicest grumpy bastard you ever meet. That's the way I put it.
He's a brilliant way of being grumpy.
The happiest grumpy I've ever met.
He's nice grumpy.
I'm not finding grumpy at all.
Anyway, so anything else you wanted to touch on there, Sean?
Yeah, I mean, look, the Smash series. I think that's fantastic. I think I was chatting to yourself, maybe Bob, but what an awesome concept. I mean, imagine walking into a pub and instead of ordering a beer, you order a hop. And you're like, can I have the Citra? Can I have the Sabro? Can I have the Machueca and that? So where is this going to stop? How many are you going to go through every hop you can? What's the concept behind it? Because I think it's fucking awesome.
Yeah, I agree.
Gary?
Here. Yeah, I'm loving doing the Smash series, and I hope we keep doing it for as long as possible that we can.
Did you see that concept from Trouble Brewing? I think they did it a couple of years. I think they Cha-ching.
You know the way there's no such thing as an original idea?
No.
A mate of mine rang me one night from he's from Cavan. He's from the north of the big Cavan. And he rang me and he said, Jesus, will you hear what they're doing above in the Kilmore? The Kilmore's the hotel on the hill over Cavan Town. He said, Jesus, will you hear what they're doing above in the Kilmore? They're doing a thing and it's a big fucking fundraiser. They're bringing lads that can sing and dance and act in every Sunday night. And they call it Cavan's Got Talent. I think they got the idea from Longford's Got Talent. Not America or Britain, but
Longford's Got Talent. Brilliant.
Yeah, it was from
They're a different breed in some parts of the country. They really aren't.
Trouble Brewing's Got Talent.
Anyway, back to Gary.
Smash series. Sorry for jumping in there. Gary, you got to be tough here. Tell us the
curiosity. What was were your favourites so far in the Smash series?
Sabro, I don't like Sabro as a hop. I hate Sabro as a hop. I just don't like the coconut kind of minty kind of vibe off it. I've tried it. Not just your Smash single hop. I've had a couple of different beers with Sabro, and I've given it a go. I think there was a Wylam beer. There might have been a. Jeez, I can't remember off the top of my head. But I see Sabro now. I go, fuck off, Sabro. No, not for me.
That was my personal favourite.
Each to their own, man. Each to their own. For me, Nelson Sauvignon. I really, I think myself and Sean are kind of on the same taste buds, and I think the same vibes at the moment. Like New Zealand hops, anything from down under, I just I love them.
I found the Nelson that was out of the can I had. I found quite nice compared to the rest, but I haven't complained about any of them, to be honest. Like, I think they're all good. Like, I even enjoyed. I mean, and Dave's right. New Zealand hops, that's hitting my taste buds. I don't know why. There's something, maybe it's because I'm from the Southern Hemisphere, but where it's Australian or New Zealand hops, something really appeals to me about that. I think it was Sabro maybe was bitter, like for me, but but no.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of bitter, though. So.
What's coming out next, lads? Is there another one coming out in the next week or so or something? Were you talking about that the other night? Can that be revealed?
Oh, can I?
Yeah, I can, of course.
Hang on.
Yeah, the Lotus.
There's more breaking news from the White Hag.
The Lotus is the next one. So.
Lotus.
Yeah.
Never
I just
heard
cracked it today, so that'll be getting canned probably next week or maybe the week after. I'm not sure.
Where does
Yeah,
that hop? Where does that hop come out of? Is that a Northern Hemisphere hop, Lotus, or
Yeah,
never heard of it?
yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's I've never worked with it before here, and we only got it in especially for this beer. We don't use it for anything else, and yeah, it's smelling quite good actually. I cracked it and dumped it earlier on today, so I got a good old whiff of it. So
Gary, if you could go wild, what beer would you brew? Like, what is your ultimate beer that you want to go for?
So basically, Bob and Paul are saying they're not there, and you can brew whatever you want. There's no cost of raw materials. You can crank up. You can buy whatever equipment in you want, and you can use whatever you want. What would you brew?
44 liters, 44 grams per liter, whatever you want to fucking do. Like, it's up to you.
Yeah, I do the biggest, hoppiest, bitterest double IPA you could probably do.
Quadruple IPA or something.
Yeah, and then I go through hot cones.
So Bob and Paul are being so stingy. Like, let's go for this big double IPA. We call it the big full gas. The big full gas. That's the next beer from White Hag.
Yeah.
No, that'll be the next beer from Gary Brewing Incorporated.
Gary, I'll buy it.
Thanks, man. I'm in.
Tell us, lads. Where's the? I know obviously COVID probably put this to the fucking. I mean, was it back to the last live Hag Extravaganza? There was mention of the whiskey coming out of the barrels. Is that all being parked for now, or what's the crack?
That is impending, to be honest with you. Yeah. I'll not lie to you. The last year took an awful lot of energy, innovation, constantly pivoting and work, and it kind of, we were in these waves, as we all were. So the whole country was going through these waves, and we had changes, of course, over the last year as well, and that kind of means that the people working on projects ebb and flow away from them. The whiskey is ready to rock, but we just need to get it into a format to release it. Mm-hmm. And that's either out through the likes of our barrel program kind of crowdfunders, or through a distributor and retailer, or probably a combination of both. But we just need to get that right.
Good stuff.
But it's I'm not a big whiskey drinker, but it's phenomenal. It's really, really good whiskey. And people who drink whiskey have given us that feedback as well. It's Puka, just so the inside, it's Puka barrel aged and Black Boar barrel aged.
But you didn't produce this whiskey yourselves. This is barrels you've acquired, yeah? Jesus,
no. I would be very transparent about that. It's a partnership with the Great Northern.
There's no way you could have produced it. Sure, you only released the information about it 2 years, and your whiskey has to be minimum 3, isn't it? Or generally, people don't release whiskey which is kind of less than 5 in Ireland, don't they? Really?
No, we released the information last July, so it's last Extravaganza online, and we didn't have it ready, but we had it in barrels at that stage. So, and it was it'll be 5-year-old, I think, when it's released.
Good stuff. I'm looking forward.
And that's Great Northern Distillery. Great Northern Distillery are making brilliant whiskey, but they're also making the majority of the whiskies produced in the country. Them and what's coming out of Cork, of course.
Guys, I'm just conscious that I know, Bob, I know you are pressed for time a little bit. But
Yes.
can we touch on the little Alkin just a little bit? So I don't know who wants to take the lead. Here, you
Yeah,
being
no,
quiet, but I mean, yeah, you just sit there and look pretty.
That's
I've
been
never
my
seen
job for
you be
2
quiet.
years now.
Sell it. Come here. Sell the beer to us, you. Come on, that's what you do for a living. Sell the little Alkin.
I don't know, because I shouldn't be giving away privileged information, the case price and margins to people.
Don't accuse your man at the moment.
No.
How much would little Alkin cost if you applied in the same margin as Guinness?
Did you
see that
guys
question
hear what we
last
did with Whiplash?
with Northern Surrender to the Void? Alex's question last week, 2 weeks ago, was if Surrender to the Void double IPA, their first double IPA, if they applied the same macro margin, say Guinness applied to their producing stout, how much would a pint of Surrender to the Void cost going over the counter?
You asked him that question.
We asked that question, yeah. That was our question for the competition.
No, he told us the answer previous, so yeah.
Yeah.
It was our competition question.
I'd say
Go on.
I'd say it's less than 350.
What?
I think Guinness margin is like 16% or most or something like that you get on points. And
But how much would
much
a
a pint?
glass of Surrender to the Void, sorry, a pint of Surrender to the Void be?
Going over the bar counter.
Oh, to get the same margin for the retailer to get the same margin.
Get the retailer to get the same margin. Yes,
It'd
yes.
be like 12 quid or something. 11 quid.
More.
You?
38.
More.
Fuck off.
More.
30.
More.
40.
More.
72 euros. Odd. 72 euros odd.
If it was the same markup per ingredients per that, it would be 92. Sorry, 72.
72.
Are you talking about the core ingredients, not the margin? So when you pay
So the way
whatever.
So the way Alex termed it was, if you took all the ingredients that you would put into Guinness and what you would have to charge it as a cost, how much would that appropriate price be for Surrender to the Void? And that would be 72, which is a lot if you think about it.
So we did this with Festanuda recently.
Yeah,
when I say recently,
which is a big one.
Which is a big one, but also is in barrels for 6 months, right? 6 months, Gary. Yeah.
6 months.
So. And then you've got to put it into barrels and take it out of barrels, and then you have to buy those barrels and then get rid of them afterwards, etc. Right? So you took it. We looked at Festanuda and said, "How much are we selling this for again?" And we hadn't sold it in a year and a half, and the first time we sold it was the first time. And sat down with Brian to do an exercise, and the consumer price went up by 40 quid. We actually had to price it. When we priced it, we had to stop somewhere, but we couldn't reclaim all the cost. And so beers like Black Boar and Festanuda, you just don't reclaim what you invest in them. You can't.
Black Boar is beautiful. Big, black, and beautiful.
It's
what the world is wanting.
That's something I actually want. It's actually going to come up there, lads. We're gonna give you a quick fire before you run away. Don't worry. No one gets away leaving the house live without getting a quick fire round.
Oh, is that my taxi?
Yeah. We'll do that in a little while. Just touching on, there's a question in about Imperial Stouts. We had a competition, Bob, that we were going to have tonight.
We did have a competition. We did have a competition. And in fact, the competition already happened, but you just didn't know it. So I've placed a random term somewhere in the chat. That term will get you 60 quid's worth of beer on our website for one person, and only the first person who uses it. So it's a bit of a race right now. First person to use it, and I will see that person coming through live because I've got the store back end open here. And
it looks like you got a 27-1 shot because there's about 28 people watching.
There you go. Hughes away, look. Win a case of beer. He knows the margin.
He's trying to win his own competition.
Yeah. Well, there's another thing. There's another thing I meant to get in actually. Segue / wedge in. We launched in Lidl a couple of weeks ago. And
it looks just like you, Gary.
Jesus,
without the moustache.
He's just been off the bed now, so.
Did anyone say? Did anyone tell me about this? Is like bring your kid to the House Flies live night.
It's like it's taking a puppy to the beach. You know what's going to happen.
you know, I got stopped talking about kids, and guys, you know, in the middle of the COVID, I was bringing the small fella, my 5-year-old, but almost 5 at the time, up to do a bit of takeaway and just get him away from the wife and give the wife a bit of break a couple of times. So he was in the front seat of the caravan, and so most of the time he'd not off when we up the road to Cork. I'm living down in Mallow, and got stopped at a couple of checkpoints, and I said, "Oh, here I am now." I said, so the first couple of days, I was like, "Geez," I was almost kind of going, "Yeah, I'm going to work," and that's all I would say. But they looked at me, and he was like, "You're going to work, and you got your kid with you," and I was like, "Yeah," and he was like, but the guard was like, "It's bring your kid to work day, is it?" And I was like, yeah. And he was kind of laughing. I was like, "Thank fuck." But, the relief that went over me, like, you know. Yeah.
This is with big Beer House branding all over the car. Like, you just imagine if Dave gets stopped at a roadblock and he's like, "Have you been drinking?" "No." Like, Beer House. Like.
So let's get
Bob,
back to that.
what are you saying?
Where's your tax list? Oh, the young fella ate it.
So let's get back to the competition briefly, Bob, so people have it very clear about it, and then get back to what you were saying. What were we talking about? I can't remember. I've lost my train of thought.
What I was talking about
Little Alkin,
was,
Little Alkin, yeah.
Little Alkin.
Margin of Little Alkin or something. I'm not too sure.
I know the beers at your barrel age and put in cans afterwards. You just can't charge enough to bring it back. It's a vanity exercise, you know.
Oh, we just someone else joined the stream there. He looks like he's in a car or something. Hey, James.
Hey, mate, how are you?
All right.
Good, mate. Come on. How's a sheep? Yeah.
Doing all right, you know.
James is the god of beer, lads. This is all the White Hag lads here. I've got Gary the brewer, I've got you the sales guy, and I've got Bob the talker and the owner. This is James, a good friend of mine. He used to work in the Salt House many years ago, lads. Actually, before he formed back in 2011, James.
Yeah, back in 29, mate. To be honest, look, what didn't work in the Salt House pretty much created it. So.
You copy the beer house, basically, yeah, down in Cork.
Oh yeah, well, you know, I try to exceed to excellence, you know. So
good stuff. Yeah. So, Bob, sorry, just to clarify in the competition, get on the website now, and you've got to use a keyword or a phrase, is it? That you've used earlier.
It was in the chat earlier on, and I think people seem to have gotten their hands on it, and. Yeah, I think. Well, I'm just waiting to see if someone gets to use it or has used it. Anyways, the other thing is, if you haven't won, if you aren't the lucky winner of the box of beer, I'm going to send down snoods for anyone that's on the stream tonight. So maybe you can do a screen capture of everyone who's watching or listening. If you are listening, maybe send Dave a message, a DM, Dave.
Yeah, we'll sort you out. We'll sort you out.
First come, first serve. Dave. I love snoods. I have a box of snoods sent down and a couple of beers.
First come, first snood.
Yeah,
shotgun.
Yeah. There you go.
Sean's always complaining. He never gets any freebies.
I haven't got fucking anything for this stuff, have you? Anyway, Gary, can you tell us about what we should experiencing from the Kel toy?
No,
not the Kel toy. Little Alkin, you're on the wrong beer. Little Alkin.
For fuck's sakes, wrong. That's
I'm
looking at the can. That's what.
This is the recurring team as well. That Sean usually just messes up the time show. He's our little Limerick guy, you know. Did you hear? Did you hear what happened last week? 2 weeks ago. I know we keep going back to White Hag or Whiplash, but I know White Hag are on. But
I think we do this.
We do this quick fire every week, and I said to Sean, "Sure, for a change, you do the questions." So I turned around to Sean, and I was like, "Do you have the questions?" And there was a pause, and he misread me completely in the text messages, so he'd no questions. So he just scrambled to get the questions together, and Alex, and he fucking pissed himself. It was fantastic.
just make them up as you go along.
Yeah.
Sounds like a pretty well-oiled machine there, boys.
What's that, mate?
Can we get back to the beer, and can you please describe what we should be getting for the Little Alkin? Our barrel aged.
So it's Little Fawn barrel aged in Alkin barrels, Brett barrels. So very light in color. Really, you should get a lot of white wine, grapefruit, and that classic Bretty sort of finish.
I love this stuff. I think it's just it's quality. I think
Phenomenal, isn't it?
it's phenomenal. I think there's no comparison. Little Fawn is fruity, juicy, sessionable. It just transforms it. Takes it to a completely different place, you know. And I was surprised.
Yeah, but it's 12 months in the barrel.
I was surprised when I referenced it, I think, on Untapped, our friends on Untapped, and I saw Little Fawn. I was like, I know, it was in the back of my mind. I was like, I knew it was Little Fawn, it was a beer with Hughes, and obviously Little Fawn, Little Alkin. But I was like, Little Fawn? No way. Yeah, no, it's just beautiful. Very approachable, I think.
Sell anything.
What's that?
We'll just about sell anything at the White Hag.
I think we agreed. I think we agreed. You'd sell anything at this stage, you.
Absolutely.
What's the volume with the Little Alkin, and what hops are you using?
Well, it's Little Fawn, so we use Mosaic and Simcoe in it, and then just like I think we threw El Dorado into the fermenter when we put it back into the fermenter before we canned it, like, and brought it to the bright tank and packaged it basically, like. So we took it out as Little Fawn into the barrels at an age for 12 months in the barrels, put it back into a fermenter on top of the hop. So it was El Dorado and Simcoe, I think, again, and then back into the
you said, sorry, Gary, you said there were Alkin barrels. For people that don't know, what are Alkin barrels?
We barrel aged a beer called Alkin beforehand, which was our Brett kind of farmhouse ale.
Okay.
And so that was kind of the second use of the barrels for that.
Okay. No, keep bringing that one out, lads. I'm a big fan of the Little Alkin, I must say.
Yeah.
Someone mentioned in the chat there, just to pick it up. They mentioned another barrel aged beer that we did, Talty.
Yeah, they want it back.
Yeah, people keep coming back looking for Talty, and it's like 2 years in barrels. That was 2 years, Gary. It was definitely a year and a half. It was kind of lost. It was kind of like we were digging out something for a project, and I remember talking in the office going, what have we in the barrels that might be able to use? And then it was like, oh, remember that kind of saison that was in the wine barrels, and let's dig it out. It's like, oh, Jesus Christ, there's about 600-700 liters of it there.
Talty.
Oh, yeah, fine.
What was that?
Talty. Talty, yeah. Talty.
Never heard.
I remember that. It was more than 600. There must have been 1,200 liters in it. We did a batch of cans for a project in the UK, and then we released a small bit in Ireland, like I'm talking 30-40 cases, and it just evaporated.
Is it coming back? Like, are you releasing it soon? No plans. What happens? Do we need a position? Like,
we specialize in new labels.
We turn it around. We can bring it back. I mean, what's going to happen?
We probably should do it again. Actually, Talty, it is phenomenal. Hugh, you had some. You were not.
We had it last year. Was just actually at the start of lockdown, wasn't it? That's what we started doing the live streams about, and suddenly we didn't sell much of it at first, and then we went to do a live stream and it sold out like instantly.
It went out easy. Actually, we did it for Beer 52. That's who it was.
Yes.
We did a box, a special VIP box for them. We gave them as like the cream. Then we sold the rest for a live stream.
Prank crew, yeah.
I'm just aware of the time there, lads. I know you probably have to pop off. As Bob has to pop off pretty soon there. You can all run together if you want. You're boring.
No, we'll leave with you. We'll leave you with you. You're grand.
We actually don't particularly want. We don't particularly want him, you know.
That's all right. That's okay.
You're grand. No, we'll keep you. We'll keep you.
Did you have Ulkin on that? Did you have Ulkin? Oh, here we go.
Are you all disappearing at 9, or Gary? Are you allowed? Can you stay a little bit longer?
I think Gary.
I think I have to jump on to the other call as well. So.
Yeah, so we'll keep you on site. We'll keep you on site for a while.
So we got the dub.
Yeah.
Sorry, lads.
Geez, you're gonna have a tough time with me, I'd say.
Are you Leinster fan? You?
I am when they're winning. Yeah, they're.
Fantastic with our last result. We'll take it. All
right.
Sounds like a true Leinster fan. Yeah, the only fair weather Leinster fans, aren't they?
Should lent the rugby's only
Support
about
them when they're winning.
drinking at the
Sorry.
stadium, isn't it?
Sorry, I missed that because the woman was going to bed. But you do know Hugh used to play cricket for Ireland.
I didn't used to play for Ireland.
It's a good conversation.
Yeah,
for
for
you.
England.
Oh, England, was it?
Yeah,
England.
England, yeah.
Never for Ireland, never for Ireland. I still play quite a lot.
For
Actually,
so you played for England?
No, Jesus, no. He keeps telling people this.
Was
I
it
play-
England A or what?
I used to play. I actually
Makes
lived
him
in
popular. Makes him popular selling beer in Donegal.
I actually moved to
What
South
do you
Africa
do?
for 4
I
months.
play cricket for England.
I played in
I played
I played in
cricket for
Durban.
England.
I played in Durban for 4
Durban?
months. Yeah.
Yeah.
Moved over there. I went over there as a overseas amateur to play for a club over there when I was
Which
about 21.
which club did you play for?
I was with what's it called, a sports agent called Futura Sports. I was playing for Brea Rovers. He used to get like all these people over from like the UK,
Yeah.
and then South Africans would be sent over as an exchange program. Yeah.
And I would have loved to seen you because you must have been very red, very sweaty, and very hot in a Durban summer because it's fucking boiling. I mean, you get out of the shower and you're sweating. That's where I grew up.
It's like 35 degrees at like 10 o'clock in the morning and 90% humidity.
Excluding humidity.
I got used to it when I came home. I was like the way the South Africans are when they're here all the time. They're wearing jumpers in the middle of summer when it's boiling. I was like that. I was had scarves and all, and I couldn't get used to Ireland for ages.
And do you like a good curry?
Yes, I loved what's it called, bunny chow.
Bunny chow. Hey, you eat with your hands and all, eh? Like
yeah, absolutely. I lived down on the seafront there at Schlange. It was, you know where the Elengeni is?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where I lived.
Elengeni Hotel.
Yeah, it was right beside that.
Lonnie, hey? You were put up. You weren't roughing it when you were over there then.
Yeah, no, not at all.
We actually had two Irish guys ask. They were saying that you obviously know who Dale Steyn is.
Yeah, of course.
For those who don't know, he's probably one of the best fast bowlers that has played the game in the recent years. And he had two Irish lads that actually were staying at his house for a while. So they used to come down to the gym and train all the time. But
I got to meet him when they were playing their warm-ups for the World Cup. We got to bowl. We were asked to bowl to Australia when they were warming up the day before their South Africa game. So I got to meet Dale Steyn and your man Morkel and stuff like that. Yeah, it was amazing. Like unbelievable experience. Both those guys.
Like Faf du Plessis is amazing. I'll end the conversation there, but
we'll finish on cricket because everyone.
I think myself and Bob and Gary haven't a clue what you're talking about.
I'm absolutely loving all of this, boys. Keep it going. I'm loving it.
Cricket. A posh
All
game.
I'm hearing is cricket.
Listen to it.
It's like a posh game of tip to can for me. That's what it is.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
With trifle in between.
I'm going to say Liam Lavelle in the comments has come in and asked, is Hagstavaganza online again this year? Liam's obviously late to the party, but it may well be online and offline, Liam, or both or either. So this yet to be decided, just for those of you who joined late. Also, in other very relevant news, in a mad twist of fate, Dave, the lad who you met in Leeds, who used to work for us and now works for Grand Crew, won the case of beer, and he's watching from Dublin.
Terms and conditions apply. No, you can't be associated.
Yeah, this sounds corrupt at all. Like this sounds like a South African competition. Like bullshit.
I leave it in your hands.
No. Actually, I'm leaving it in your hands because what he doesn't know is that I'm sending the beer to Beer House, like we agreed earlier on, along with the
hands.
So he has to go down to Beer House to get the beer.
Yep.
Good man, great to see you watching.
And he'll have to spend at least 60 euros, 60, 70, 80 euros in the beer house before he gets it.
Yeah.
I like it.
I love it. Beer house tax.
Lads, let's have a bit of crack before you leave anyway. All right, we have the desert island. We call it the desert island question. All right, we'll start with everybody. Go across the room. Myself and Sean obviously are exempt. You're going to a desert island. You can bring one beer and one thing. What do you bring? Let's stop at you, Bob, top of the screen. One beer and one thing. It can be a case of beer. One
Be a
thing.
case of beer.
It can be a case of beer.
Yeah, it's a case of beer and thing, but that's it.
A case
That's
of
all
beer
you
and
got.
one thing.
And then you got
A case of beer and a thing.
Does it
and
have
then
to
you
be a
got
white
a
hag
big
beer?
girls to shut on
Man-
life.
It can't be mixed.
No,
It can be a mixed case. No.
No, just one beer.
All
No.
right, okay.
one beer.
I would bring a case, and because this is a hypothetical question, I can say this. I would bring a case of Mango IPA by Barrel House Brewing in Paso Robles, and I would bring a shotgun in case people tried to get onto the island with boats to get any of the beer. And I would
What I'm going to say
fuckers.
is,
I thought you
how
were going to say
very
you're going to bring a
American of you.
shotgun.
How
I thought you were going to bring
very
a shotgun to
American.
fucking kill things to eat, but no, just to kill people
No.
coming on the island.
Yeah. No.
Go on, JC. You're
how
up
very
next.
American.
JC, you're up next. James, what would you? Go on.
Mate, what would I do? The beer would definitely be a beer out of Aussie that I was drinking all of last year. Hawker's West Coast IPA, probably one of the nicest beers you're going to get. I'd have as many cases of that as I could. And maybe an umbrella, mate, because I don't do well in the sun. So.
An umbrella on a desert island.
I lived in Ireland too long. I don't do sunlight all that well. So.
Oh, God.
Unbelievable.
Gary,
Well, an
next
umbrella
up.
can catch rain as well. If you want to drink water, you can turn it upside down and catch another rain.
And probably keep your beer
Ah.
cool as well. Probably keep your beer
So-
cool in the shade.
That's it.
Survival
You
skills.
got to think ahead, boys. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Gary,
a blanket at night.
Gary, go ahead.
For me, I probably feel like a case of Coast to Coast that we brewed in collaboration with Bagby.
I'm going to mention
Yes.
that.
Love
My
this.
guitar, probably something boring like that.
But no, can I just bring back Bob? Is that the beer that was produced, but it had the wrong title on the back of the can? Was it Bagby? West
No,
Coast to
there
West
was-
Coast.
There was a mention tag extravaganza or something. It was the wrong label.
Was it Hopstravaganza? There was something wrong with it. Was it not West Coast
Are
to
you
West
just
Coast?
picking flaws now from the past?
No,
to try and drag up.
no. It's happened once.
So
but
glass, no, it happened. No, it's happened but once. You're joking me. We sent a beer this year to Beer 52, which had chilies on the ingredients. Right? Nothing. There was no chilies. It was a deepa, right? We've had so many fuck ups on labels. It's not even funny, right? So the one mistake would be acceptable. Anything more than one is a decision, as far as I'm concerned. And we've had loads of them. But the beer you were talking about was Gloss. So Gloss Milkshake was, and then some of it transferred across to the next label. But so how labels? For those of you who made no graphic design will know that you lay a label out, and you use that template for the next label. And if you don't change everything, or if all the details haven't been finalized when the label is being designed, then some stuff can get left there and it gets printed and it gets through proofing and all that shit. But there's some hilarious stuff.
And there's
So the one we sent, the Deepa we sent to Beer 52, and this wasn't like 3,000 cans. This was 40,000 cans. All right, the Deepa we sent had lactose in it, lactose and chilies and
cinnamon.
Cinnamon, yeah. All in the ingredients. It was a 4-ingredient beer. So that's a great question. I'm sorry, you've teased all the answers out of me there.
And back to yourself, Hugh. Go on. What are you going to bring?
Oh,
Is England cricket jersey?
no, definitely not.
A cricket bat, just play and a ball, just play cricket on your own. Yeah?
Am I looking to survive this trip to the island, or am I coming back from it, or am I not? Like,
No, you're on it. We never said you come back. You're not coming off.
Yeah,
You're on it.
you don't have a choice.
Also, you point
depends.
out you're on an island at the moment.
fair enough. Right, so I'll probably bring a case of. I think I'd just go for an easy little fawn, and then maybe a bag of jellies, the funny kind.
It's funny because it's true.
And just get out of it. and just forget it, and then just die happy.
I come on the island with you, actually, here.
I think everyone want to come on the island with me.
There should be, surely somewhere on the internet, there is like a top 10 of the best responses ever to that question. Surely.
There must be. I think the shotgun was definitely one of my fucking favorites so far.
You could have said lots of things that I kept it clean for you for those watching.
Honestly, how antisocial do you?
Let's
I was
go on, James.
You go, boys. I was going to say, how antisocial do you have to be to bring a bloody shotgun to a bloody island?
Well, that's kind of what happened when you guys went down to the Antipodes. I mean, shotguns in Australasia, and yeah. Anyway,
why we got sent down to the Antipodes.
Sean, have you got the questions there for the quick fire this week? Let's squeeze them through.
For fuck's sakes, Dave, you're joking on me, aren't you? Okay, yeah, I've got them.
Have you?
Yeah, I do.
No, you have my questions.
I haven't got any. I've got all the questions, David. Like
you have the questions.
I'm one step ahead of you.
You have the questions I asked.
David always tries to throw me under the bus, so I've learned. I'm thinking ahead. It's called foresight. So what are we doing? Are we going 1-1 between?
No, I think
Bob just left. So we just do Gary.
Yeah, do Gary and you. Go on. So give the first five to start it. First five to Gary, and then
he's staying with us, so you can do it later.
All right, go on. Drive on, so okay.
Yeah. So this is all Gary.
Yep.
Okay, Gary, we're talking beer. IPA or stout?
IPA.
Whiskey, Irish or Scotch?
Irish.
Night out, pub or restaurant?
Pub.
Rugby, Connacht or Munster?
Couldn't give a shit.
Jeez, you're like Alex Laws right there. I mean, God. Okay, music.
It's just a bunch of posh blokes running into each other, man.
Okay, so you can have a drink for that one. Music, trad or alternative?
You're in the West, man. Late.
Yeah, you're drinking
I'll say trad then, yeah. I'll say trad.
Beer. Hops, southern or northern hemisphere?
Are you talking to me still?
Yeah, Gary.
Oh, sorry, yeah. Southern.
He's dying here. He's dying. Save
Barry
Bob.
Gogan, you win.
Where's that shotgun?
Movies, Breaking Bad or Game of Thrones?
Game of Thrones.
Movies.
Two TV series there, aren't they?
TV
Holiday.
movies,
Sun or winter?
Sun.
Music, heavy metal or jazz?
Heavy metal.
Rock on.
Is that it? He passed, did he? He passed.
3 sips.
Yeah, 3 sips.
Just about.
All right, lads. So the winner of the competition basically was an internal kind of thing. We'll
that genuinely does not surprise me that Harty's been watching and probably still watching here. But there's something nice about that. Someone from Grand Crew is keeping an eye on things.
Well, lads, the great thing about this is that we will have another question. We'll have another competition, and the Beer House is going to sponsor this one. It's not one, but 2 competitions tonight. Here's the question: what date was the last White Hag tap takeover at the Beer House Cork? The closest date, the place closest to the date, and first answer only. Stick them in the private chat there, lads, on YouTube or Facebook, and Sean will monitor them there, and we'll let you know towards the end.
2 years ago.
Approximately 2
Bob,
years ago.
we weren't asking you. You cannot answer the question.
Well, obviously not last. Obviously, last year it wasn't last year, so it must have been 2020.
Tom Williams, Paddy's Day 2020. No, we weren't fucking open, Tom.
4 minutes ago.
We weren't fucking open.
So it was either 2019 or 2020 or 2018 or 2017, pre-2021. All right. Lads, if you want to jump off, if you're under pressure, it's 9:05, by all means. There's no pressure though.
No, we're going to jump straight up. What about tasting Festanuda? Fuck it. I haven't had one of these. So the beauty of this, Hugh, you don't know this because you didn't come down this week. When we were about to leave, well, not even when we were about to leave, come out of the brewery at 4:00, and I was like, oh yeah, we got to go and we're doing the beer house thing tonight. Leanne walks out, right? And she has a box, 2 boxes each for me and Gary, right? She has, this one is Beer House Bob Gary, a Clon box. She has another one, Bob Gary. She has one for Paul for Clon, and she's another one for me and Gary for the Clon meeting as well. 5 boxes of beer prepped. 3 of each beer in the box. It's like having your mum organize your lunch for you for a week in advance. The night before.
Bro. No,
That's
exactly
brilliant.
what you want.
It's like she's a keeper. She's a keeper. She puts three pastry stouts. She's like giving you sweets every day of the week into your box.
3 of every beer, and then another 3 of every beer for the next Zoom we're on. Normally I'm legging around the brewery trying to find these beers 2 minutes before the Zoom, and I'm at home here with all the beer in the fridge. It's phenomenal. Yeah, big shout to Leanne if she's watching.
So lads, Festa Nuda, Irish coffee, pastry stout. Yeah, that's the best way to describe it.
Yeah.
Gary, in you go.
Yeah, Bob's
So-
muted himself, is he?
It's a big 9% Irish pastry stout that we aged in whiskey barrels for 6 months, and then we took it from the barrels, put it back into the fermenter on top of Brazilian coffee beans, aged it there for a couple of days, and then this is the finished product, and it's phenomenal.
The biggest compliment I can give this imperial pastry stout is that I've fallen out of love with imperial pastry stout. Well, pastry stouts in general, but I like this. If that's
It's not as pastry.
No, it's not as pastry as some of them. Like some of them are just overly sweet and.
I think, Dave, what we've had this conversation on a few of the episodes, and it's the lactose.
Lactose
And for some reason, it doesn't seem to, like, I don't know. We just found that it doesn't work in some beers. But I don't know. Is it the volume that allows the lactose to be covered here, or what is it? Because you don't get the same here on that, like, musty taste of the lactose that you do sometimes. I mean, this is a really nice beer.
Yeah, the volume definitely helps it, but like the roasted malt, and then you're getting the whiskey from the barrels as well, which, like, I think I personally can taste an awful lot of the whiskey and the spirity, but it's not off-putting either. So it's it's quite mellow actually for 9%. Like, the dangerous.
I mean, there's no booze trail there, and it's an awesome can work that Dave's showing there. I mean, that's absolutely. I mean.
Yeah,
like
I'm just teasing James down in New Zealand who hasn't got one.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm absolutely gutted. I'd love to be having a beer.
I suppose it's a little bit similar to the Black Bull in a way. I mean, that's another one of your imperial stouts that's just rocking.
Yeah.
Like, it's really, really good.
Yeah.
It's probably got a little bit more. I don't know if there's lactose in it, but it's got a little bit more, like, thickness to it. But I mean, the Black Bull, I think I probably prefer it over this one, and that's probably just because of that whiskey flavor, which is maybe a little bit stronger. I don't know.
Yeah. This would be a lot sweeter too, like, so it really is a dessert kind of after dinner beer that you can kind of sit there and sip and
Irish coffee.
Really enjoy it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Who was this originally collaborated with? Lambrat,
yeah.
Are they French or something?
Italian. Milan.
Yeah. Milan. Okay, very good.
How many Italian breweries are you associated with, Bob?
We would be fairly tight with 2, with Brewfist and Lambrate. And there's a bunch of bars over there that we've done lots of stuff with and sell lots of beer in all the time. Great.
I think there's a local Irish lad who imports some of the beer, or he's got a bottle store there. If I'm correct.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, Johnny's off license, so you wouldn't normally be. We normally do collabs with off licenses as such, but he has like a cohort of 3 in the middle of Rome. You've been there, Gary? Have you, Johnny?
No.
Oh, it was Mike. Mike actually was over with him 2 years ago. He just has a really great knowledge of beer, has a great selection of beer, and just a massive volume. One of those small wee shops that has 40 people standing outside it every evening drinking, you know. And we did a deeper with him. We did Malafamina, you know, the fantastic artwork, the character on the front of the can, and he sells a shitload of that, and also his distributor brings the beer into the center of Italy, into the Abruzzo, Roma region, Lazio region. With generally a good reception in Italy. This beer actually came about as a result of drunken conversation in Norway, in Bergen Beer Festival in Norway 2 years ago. Around the name of the beer is actually Festa Nuda, which means party naked, but the real name of it is shit happens when you party naked, and we couldn't really write that on the can. But it was.
Can you tell the story behind it?
Yeah, kind of explaining. Myself and Jampa at a kebab shop talking about how you get pretty drunk sometimes at beer festivals and you end up naked in different places. And Jampa basically tried to sum it up at the end by saying, you say shit happens when you party naked. And I think he was saying it the other way around. But anyways, I thought it was a brilliant name for a beer, so here we are. But they really brought their stamp to it. They brought they do a phenomenal tiramisu pastry stout, which was at Extravaganza last year, and they brought that along, and they kind of brought that tiramisu pastry element. We already did whiskey imperial stouts, so that was the kind of meeting of minds.
I think the whiskey really carries, even though, you know, the pastry's fighting it. I think the whiskey does shine, which is nice, you know.
Yeah.
That's why I like it. I just like whiskey and stout. I just think it just works, you know.
Yeah.
It just has to be.
They work together,
they work well together.
Right, I'm out of here. I can leave you with you and Gary with you. Gary, at some point you might jump over onto the Zoom. But lads of Beer House, thanks a million for having us, and ladies, and everyone in Cork. We hope that the next time we see you will be within spitting distance across the counter, and we can.
Well, I was only thinking about it. Thinking about the other day, we will have a Houseflies live get together. Everybody that's been on, we'll invite them down, and we'll stick a beer or two on from every bar, every brewery.
That'd be amazing.
We'll have a big night. When we can all muddle together, definitely an excuse to do inter-counter travel.
And hopefully, in the next week or two, we'll give you all a reason to come to Sligo.
Very good.
100%. And just for the lads, when you guys are going back to the brewery on Monday, you can ask the story from Paul about finding Dave standing outside the church after the last White Hag tap takeover. He was praying. He decided to go to church about 1 o'clock on Saturday morning, 2 o'clock maybe, somewhere around there.
Shut up, Sean.
Bob, good to see you.
See you, Bob. All right, Bob. Thanks, Bob.
Vinny Galuli, it's been a pleasure.
Eva. I think it's probably a good time to share my Hag Extravaganza moment. Not Hag Extravaganza moment, but my tap takeover from the Beer House. When we did the beer puppet. So this is related to the question that we asked earlier, which was, what was the question again, Sean? What date?
When was the last time that there was the White Hag takeover from before pre-lockdown?
Yeah, what was the date?
At the beer house. The exact date.
Yeah, that was the question, yeah. So,
I think, Dave, while you get that video set up, I mean...
Nah, have it here.
You got it?
Is it there? Yeah.
So I think this is one of the things that White Hag have been infamous of about the beer puppet, and so much so that this beer puppet traveled down all the way from Sligo to Cork.
It gets a laugh every time.
It's like so teasing, isn't it?
I think the plastic bag or the poncho that you have should be outlawed.
Definitely.
To make it harder.
It's going over. It's got to be.
I didn't ask you to come here.
To be fair, he's not doing too bad.
Yeah, good technique so far.
We actually should have got your ones on, guys. Like, we should have got yourself, Hugh, and you, Gary. We should have seen what you had, like, on inside the puppet.
Well,
I've never done this
miserably
before, would you
the first
believe?
time I did that.
Gripped it with your
Wait.
teeth.
Haven't you?
No, we only let through onto that.
Oh, we need to get you to do us in the week then and get it sent down.
I'll do it the next time I'm outside the beer house.
So yeah,
there we go.
I'll make a show of myself.
that was a beer.
Listen,
puppet
Hugh,
anyway.
you got to be careful for what you get roped into. At the moment, we're having a karaoke tap takeover with Third Barrel, and Kevin's on the mic. So if you want to sing, we can organise that.
Not much of a singer. I'd be more of a shy talker, to be honest. If you haven't noticed already.
I believe
Those
that.
dulcet tones in the brewing.
Anyway, lads,
Yeah.
let's jump into a little bit with JC because JC is the god of beer.
Don't know about that, but yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean your initials.
This is true.
Infer that, I guess.
Just fairly infamous.
Because we're running way over time here. We've got Mala from the Netherlands waiting in the wings there to play us a bit of music. James, you're down in New Zealand at the moment, back home.
Yeah. Good old COVID-free Kiwis, mate. So
Yeah. So tell us, like, I was a guest on your podcast, which you started there, JC the Beer Guy podcast. Is that still up and running, or?
it's it's a little bit in limbo. It's I think we sort of touched base on it the other day. I was doing a bit more of it, but then COVID kind of kicked in when I was living over in Aussie, and about 90% of my interviews that were lined up for the next 3 months had to cancel. It was sort of before everyone started jumping on Zoom and using all that, so we sort of went into a bit of lockdown and ended up just me and a couple of mates getting on the piss pretty much and talking about beer. So, but outside of that, no, it's kind of in limbo at the moment. But just talking to a few guys locally about doing some stuff. So it's coming back. So.
And if anybody wants to watch, listen to any of them, they're on Apple Music and Spotify, yeah? JC
Apple, Spotify, Google Podcasts. I think it's everywhere. Yeah. It was going all right, man.
The best one's the first episode, obviously. I know the line was dodgy, but it was the best episode.
I see, like, maybe.
I especially like the point when when you disappear for about 30 seconds in the conversation and talking, but you can't actually hear what you're saying. That was a great moment of my editing going on there. So.
Where was it? Where did he go? Like, did he go anywhere in particular, or did he just?
Oh, he just had some really shit headphones in. So.
No, he didn't have the same StreamYard technology we had. He was doing it on a phone on a phone line, So there was a bit of delay and everything,
Yeah.
Jay,
it was a little bit before Zoom.
I suppose the interesting thing here is that we always talk about Northern Hemisphere breweries at the moment, but I mean, what's happening down south? And I mean, at the moment, in the last year, New Zealand hops have really taken off and, taken the market by storm, I think. I mean, Gary, correct me if I'm wrong, and you jump in here as well. But I mean, what's going on down south? Like, where's the market at? What's going on? Like, what beers are happening?
Well, it's interesting because you mentioned about the hops, because the hops I'll be honest, the hops have been very prominent in Australia and New Zealand for quite some time. From down in New Zealand, the New Zealand hops, the Motuekas, the Nelson Sauvin, those are the ones that you obviously everyone pounds on about. But like beer wise, like let's be honest, the last year sours, everyone's pushing sours, hazies, and pastry stouts, which I know we were just talking about one before. I'm kind of gutted I can't taste the one that's there, but it's pastry stouts at the moment probably my least favourite beer. So because the ones here are super sweet.
I'm still with you, man. I'm with you.
Yeah,
I'm with you.
Yeah, just like it's just too much. It's like I wanted a hot chocolate with a bit of bitterness, then I'd get that. I don't really want So, but hazies and sours. That's pretty much what everyone's going nuts here about. And I kind of came in at a point when you guys were talking about single hop varieties. There's a couple of breweries here that are trying to focus, and they want to show there was one brewery about 10 years ago over in Australia who were trying to literally focus on a single hop and show the differences. So they brewed the beer exactly the same, but just changed. They just used one hop, and they were showing people the flavors and so on. Now it's getting a bit more novelty factor, and some people are doing a whole bunch of shit. It's not great. So, but but definitely hazies are going insane. And strange enough, lager pilsners are making a real big comeback.
It's a
Which
comeback.
I just don't get.
I think-
I just don't get it. But hey, each their own.
What are you drinking there? A left.
1265 Pilsner.
There's definitely a room in the market there to really nail a good lager pilsner. IPAs are like almost too popular. Where if you could get a really good lager pilsner, it is going to be popular, especially in summer. Why not?
Yeah,
100%.
I come from the sales one. It's like lagers are so like, you have every big company does a lager. It's the biggest selling style of beer in the world. So IPAs is where I try to sell tons of that stuff, like hazies, West Coast, very easy. Lagers hard to sell. Particularly when it's expensive, $250 for 330 or 330 in a can. Absolutely useless to sell.
Well, I know in Australia there were last year there was a big focus on bringing in like IPAs and XPAs and pale ales around all that sort of like that sort of range there, but bringing them in on mid strength. So instead of being like 7s and 9s and all that sort of stuff, bring them in at like 3s and 3.5s.
Yeah, like
so it's a bit more of a session ale. Yeah. So there was a bit of a focus going on that, but like the problem is that like only a few of the breweries were bringing beers out that tasted okay in that range. So like a lot of times you're finding when they were going lower in the percentages, the beer just tasted like shit, and it wasn't enjoyable. But it's great on a hot day. You can just pound a few back but at the same time, there's a few really pushing the boundaries. And there's a couple here. Tuatara does one called Itzy, which is not bad. But there's some good beers around, So,
Gary, what's the problem with trying to produce a beer that's on that session range? Between 3.5 and 5, or like that actually manages to hold its flavor and hold the hops and that. It just seems. I know Dave has been ranting on that. I've broken him with the big double IPAs that I've been shipping onto him and that. But where is it?
You ruined me.
Yeah, I broke him.
You just need to toughen up, David.
What's that?
Just need to toughen up, mate.
Toughen up. I think we did an episode 2 or 3 episodes ago there with Third Circle, and I thank God I was going to the next room. 3 or 4. I think the lowest ABV beer I drank for the evening was 6%, and I think we got 6 in an hour and a half, and I was leveled. Yeah, I get what Sean. I get what Sean's coming from. That it's very hard to if you start drinking bigger alcohol beers, it's very hard to come back down to 3.5 or 4 or 5. Even 5% tastes light.
It's the same
where does it go, Gary?
Go on, Gary. Yeah.
What's that? I just think you can't have a huge grain bill and have a small ABV. That's like a lot of breweries will do like the first runoff, second runoff beers. So table beers will come from that or something like that. They're doing a big double IPA or something like that. But when you're making a really low ABV beer, you have to have a low grain bill. It's really hard to extract flavor, and then even when you heavily hop it, like I think our Little Fun is about as good as you can get for a session IPA. You get a lot of flavor in it. Personally, I feel it's better on draft than in the can and stuff.
Shut up, Gary. We're not selling draft performance.
Bob's not here anymore. I don't give a shit.
Well, if you want to ship some to New Zealand, mate, we can sell some draft over here. We're allowed, so that's all right.
Yeah.
Not wanting to rub it in at all, boys.
Yeah, rub it in.
But yeah, it's hard to pack that kind of flavor in that you can do when you have the big malty backbone of a beer that you can then just unload hops on, and that's where I'm at. I love. That?
I was going to say, Gary, can I ask you a question on that then? So if you're talking about big malty backbone, what if you went more kind of like the West Coast where it's not so malty, we're talking very, very light, but just really hop, throw a massive amount of hops into it. Is that going to affect the? Is that going to affect the percentages, or if you just base because the ones I've seen are very, very light and straw colory. So you've seen the malt builds really small on that and very light. So But
When I
Yeah.
said multi-backbone, I kind of misrepresented myself. I was kind of saying that like just base malt, like you need a lot of it to get the higher extraction. You know what I mean? To get the alcohol, like so.
of course,
I don't mean
yeah.
like necessarily hitting a load of malts or whatever, like
Right. No, gotcha.
Yeah,
James,
sorry.
it'd be interesting, James, to get your take on like obviously, what did you say? 09? It was 2009 you left Ireland.
I left Ireland 2011. Well,
2011, sorry,
2010,
yeah.
2011.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
So
Like
it was there a bit.
versus like I think we mentioned the other night on the tech check. You said there was about 11, 10, 12 craft breweries at the time.
There was
kind of-
8.
8, yeah.
Yeah, well,
and
we had
like-
all 8 at the. I think there was 8 or 9. Like I said to you the other night, there was a guy who literally wanted to come along to the festival I was running, and he was a home brewer that made 50 litres for his B&B. Yeah, and used to force it on the customers. And he was like, "Sorry, mate, you can't come along." But yeah, there was only, from memory, 8 or 9, and one of those was the Porterhouse in Dublin.
Yeah.
And those boys around the corner from you, I can't remember the name now. So
Franciscan
they sold out to
Well,
Heineken. Franciscan Well, yeah, they sold to Heineken.
to Molson Coors, yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, you could probably name them there. But no, and again, I mean, from looking from the outside in, I know obviously you're far away now, but the Irish beer scene has changed for the better, big time. Like
100%.
Yeah.
yeah. Geez, like I mean, how far it's come. He's only talking like that's only literally just over 10 years ago. How far we've travelled and like evolved.
Yeah,
it's been phenomenal.
Look, I'm not sure about you, Dave, but I remember when I first got to Ireland in 2005-06, and like literally the beer taps were Carlsberg, Heineken, Budweiser, Coors, all of that. That's basically, and then you had your Smittix, and then you had your Guinness, and then you had your Bulmers. And that's what you
James,
find in most places.
Back in 2006, your interesting beers were Erdinger and Hogarden and Star of Brahman. And
That's right.
If you were looking, they were your craft beers of the day.
Yeah, 100%.
You might have had Fisher's from Norris Beers, but after that, you were like, if there was something from a local brewery, if you were lucky enough to have, we had Franciscan well up the road. If you had a Blarney Blonde or a Rebel Red, the original Kinsale Brewery was operating back then, so we had a bit of beer from them. But,
You're talking all the beers I had, yeah.
But that was Carter Brewing Company were obviously operating. You mentioned Porterhouse, but it was slim picking. It was slim picking, so it was a very.
Well, I think Trouble Brewing had just opened too. I think Trouble Brewing was only in their first year when they came out to it.
Around 2009, 2010.
Yeah, that was because there was the Galway. There was that Brewers on the Bay festival I ran up there, and honestly, they were just coming into it. You had Dungarvan that just started as well, and then you had what's the one Coolin runs? Old Crazy Coolin.
White Gypsy.
White Gypsy. Yeah. So he was there in spirit, not really in person.
crazy Coolin. I love it.
Oh, he's a good man. I like the fact he's got a different Munster jersey.
The Godfather
for every event.
The Godfather of the Irish craft beer scene, definitely.
Mate, I can pretty much say that if it was, there was Galway Hooker as well. Actually, just can I tell you a story just based on something you mentioned before about the cans and the mess up, and it's kind of the Galway Hooker boys. I remember when I first got them in the pub, and Ronan was the guy I was dealing with. And I had a big night out on the Roasting Dub the night before, and we'd had a few beers and a few Galway Hookers. And I only had like 5 of them. The next day I woke up and I was steaming when I left the pub, and I only had 5 pints. So I'm like, what's going on? And I ran to Ronan the next day. He goes, I want to get your beer in my pub. He's like, yeah, great. I said, I had a few beers. I said, what's the percentage? He goes, 4.4. I said, no, it can't be. He goes, why? So I had a few beers last night. I'm a bit rough today. Turns around and he goes, oh, where were you drinking? I said, the Roasting Dub. He goes, oh, those might have been the kegs that got away from us. It was 9%. But they just told the taxman it was 4. It was 9%. They just told the taxman it's 4.4. They messed up the brew and they couldn't afford not to sell it, so they just sold it out anyway.
Jesus, that's crazy.
I was steaming.
Talking about that, I heard a story about a pub in Dublin. I don't know the name of it, but some of the lads in Grand Cru Beers told me the same story. That I think on your podcast we mentioned this. Lads in a particular bar in Dublin were drinking Sierra Nevada Pale Ale, and that was their go-to Pale Ale, and supping on the Sierra Nevada Pale Ale all night. Keg went, lads went in to change the keg and tapped up the beer. The lads kept supping away at it, and the bartender could just realise that the lads were just getting absolutely smashed, and he was like, And the boys were like, Joe, the beer tastes a bit different tonight. Like, you know, and they didn't. That wasn't a Cork accent. That was probably more of a Dublin accent. What would after tapping up? Sierra Nevada Optimum, 10.2 or 10.3%. And I mean, they
missed
were
that bugging party.
pointing on it. That's not a pretty story. That's not a pretty ending.
Mate,
Not a pretty.
done that myself.
Yeah. Anyway, lads, fantastic, lads. I think we've got music coming up. We better get rolling on that, Sean. Yeah.
Yeah, I think let's wrap it. I mean,
Thanks for having us.
it's been great.
Thanks for having. Thanks, Gary. Thanks for coming on. Thanks for
Thank you.
Thanks for being silent.
No, thanks for coming in at the last moment. Thanks for filling us in with thanks for having a great cricket chat. You're welcome, Gary.
I suppose the customary thing to do, though, Dave, is let them have one final word. So, I mean, Hugh, you're a salesman, so go ahead.
Yeah.
Gary, what's coming on? We want to know what the beers are. We don't really care what Hugh has to say about the sales. We just want to know about the beer.
What's in the tanks?
Well, tanks right now are full of ninth waves, little fun. We've the Lotus coming up, obviously in the Union Series.
Smash him.
Next week we're brewing a milkshake IPA of mysterious origin, and I'm sure they'll tell you about that soon.
Good stuff.
Yeah, we're gonna have lots of water beer going down towards Cork. Bradley's definitely the beer house have to buy tons of kegs now. Mark Cadden, I hope he's watching because I want at least 20 kegs over the summer to sell down there. Look
at him, selling.
Exactly. Hugh, when you are done, I think you need to come down here and go door to door. You know, like how the old salesman tactics have to be. You know,
I was
not.
No, you just come in with the cricket bat and you'll sort a lot of the Cork lads out. You know, just smash in a few doors.
He'll be wearing his Leinster shirt, stressing around. Look at me.
Not at all. My Irish cricket jersey.
Boys,
I thought it was English.
No, not at all. Not none of those palms.
Lads, thanks a million for coming on. You've been stars.
No bother.
Thanks very much for having us.
You can jump off if you want. You want to stick around for a bit of music, by all means.
I've got to bounce. I'm actually stealing someone's Wi-Fi at the moment on invading their house. Jump, run off. Cheers.
Thanks, guys. See you, lads. All of it.
Bye, Gary. Thanks very much.
JC, you're going to stick around for a while? We might have a bit of a chin wag. Are you under pressure for work?
Yeah. No, mate, I'm literally just sitting on the foreshore chilling out, so all good.
All right. We'll bring in Mala.
I must say, can you just duck your head down? I mean, I don't want to duck my head too down so you'll see my bald spot. But I mean, what's that thing on top of your cap there? Fantastic.
Yeah, mate, gotta represent, you know. So
probably the best rugby team in the world.
All right, let's bring Mala.
Best rugby nation in the world.
Mala,
well, we'll try. Yeah.
Shut up, lads. There's a lady present. Mala, how are you?
It was. Oh, jeez. No,
hi guys.
At least it's a lot prettier. Hello, Mala. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Thank you for bringing your lovely hair. Thanks for bringing your lovely hair to the event.
I combed it. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, you probably have more hair in your head than the rest of the three of us put together.
Come on, JC,
amazing.
Oh, God.
It's true. She does.
You guys make me look good.
Mala, you're gonna save the night for us. You really are. This has been a train wreck. Well, it's been okay.
Was it? I loved it. I've listened to you.
It's been okay. I'm only messing. So tell us, Mala. You are Mala. I'm from Mala.
Yes.
I was telling you that I'm from Mala, which is Mallow, in Irish. Mala. Tell us. I sent you a picture of that sign that I was out for a walk. One of my walks that I do, and I was like, Mala is coming on. I gotta send her this that I am actually from Mala.
Amazing.
Tell us about yourself. From Croatia, living in the Netherlands, playing singer-songwriter.
Yeah. Yes, I am. I'm here in my studio in the Netherlands. I built it 6 months ago, I think. It's really nice to be here. I can songwrite here. I'm teaching here. It's wonderful, and yeah, I grew up in the Netherlands, in the south of the Netherlands. Maybe you know Maastricht. I don't know.
That's where the treaty was signed.
It's not.
That's all we know.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So yeah, I've been a musician almost for 10 years now. So I started playing guitar when I was 14, and songwriting ever since. And my first performance was when I was 16, and I didn't stop after that.
Fantastic. So you're gonna play us a couple. You're gonna play us a couple of songs in a way. That's what you're here for. Enough of the talking, I guess. So whenever you're ready,
Wonderful.
you can take us away. We're just gonna mute our other microphones there. Lads, mute your microphones there so Mata has the full stage, please.
Yes, sir.
And you might play a song or two, and we might break it up, and then we'll have our second goodbye, and then you can play us out. All right?
Great, wonderful.
Okay, wonderful. Thanks, Mala.
Thanks. I have my own personal guitar giver here. Look at this. Here we go. So I hope you can hear me well. Let me know if you don't. But I think all the mics work. So I'm gonna play a couple of my own songs, and I'm gonna do one cover. The first song I'm gonna play is featured on my first EP. It's called the EP is called Different But the Same. I released it last year, and it's basically the story of my family, how we came here to the Netherlands, how it feels to grow up in a refugee family. And Back at the Mountain, the song that I'm gonna play, describes that journey. So how is it to travel here? I was only a baby. I was 4 months old. So the stories I got from my parents, my brothers, sisters, grandpa, grandma, they all came with us to the Netherlands. So yeah, Back at the Mountain talks about that story. Back at the mountain is where I used to be, where my soul, it used to be free. But some time ago, I lost everything I loved to the wind. She took it all away. And I will do anything for you. And I'll be anything you want me to. 'Cause right now I am blind. Right now I can't find the light. Moving on seems easy, but I'm still standing still. I can feel the tears falling. Silence surrounds me, consumes all I am and all I was before I fled. And I will do anything for you. And I'll be anything you want me to. 'Cause right now I am blind. Right now I can't find the light. I'm holding on to all I've got. My baby sleeping sound in my arms. I bow my head and pray to God. Give us shelter, save us from the harm. 'Cause right now I am blind. Right now I now I can find the light. Just putting my earphones back. I hope you liked it. So this song is featured on my EP. I have it here. Different but the same. You can find this also on Spotify and Apple Music and all the wonderful streaming websites and services. And on the CD, it's also with a full band. There's a cello, there's electric guitar, there's mandolin, everything. I'm really proud of it. So I'd love for you to listen to it and let me know what you think. The second song I'm going to do is actually a love song. I write those two. So I think we all have this person that we always come back to, no matter how hard we try to forget them or no matter how hard we try to get away from them, they always keep coming back in our dreams. It's their eyes that we dream of. So always your eyes. I lose track of you through the years. Sometimes when we've said goodbye for a while, then once in a while there's a song or a rhyme, and you're right back in my life. Then once in a while there's a song or a rhyme, and you're right back in my smile. After so many years, I think maybe we are done. But you take me back into you like I'd never gone. And I guess we didn't ever fall out of love. It'll always be your eyes I'm dreaming of. It'll always be your eyes I'm dreaming of. There's our old friends who wonder at our dance, about the memories we made. I can't sleep for days. Your name and mine forever entwined, known as lovers in our minds. Your name and mine forever entwined, known as lovers in their minds. After so many years, I think maybe we are done. But you take me back into you like I'd never gone. And I guess we didn't ever fall out of love. It'll always be your eyes I'm dreaming of. It'll always be your eyes I'm dreaming of. 'Cause you always come back to me, and I'll always come back to you. Always come back to me, and I'll always come back to you, and I'll always come back to you, oh, oh. After so many years, I think maybe we are done.
Wow, Mala, well done, fantastic. I
Thank
think
you. Thank you so much.
Sean is off screen there, but I'm sure he'd have been clapping as well. If what do you think, JC?
Oh, mate, stunning. Absolutely stunning.
Best part of the show so far. Best part of the show so far. I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
Too
You know
kind.
what? Like,
let's be honest, Dave. It's not a hard job to follow. You follow
Good job. We're finishing up.
JC, that's that hospital pass that we always want to talk about. But I mean, Marla, it's really good. I had my headphones in the whole time. The fact that you wrote those songs yourself, wow. I mean, really, really good. And you can see, the last one was definitely, I think it triggered probably something in most people where, you always have that, that feeling. But yeah, and then, wow, really, really good. You're very, very talented.
Thank you so much. So kind.
Right, I'm messing around with streams there. Sorry. So Mala, you must be really missing the live gigs. I assume you play in pubs and you do the odd concert as well. Yeah.
Yeah, it's mostly also festivals, like outdoor festivals, or I also do weddings. Actually, I love playing weddings. Usually, like with a ceremony, so not really party music, but in the church or something.
That's where the money is. That's where the money is. The weddings. It's the same in Ireland.
Background music.
Yeah, and this was actually the first gig since November.
Wow.
Yeah, so I was really looking forward to this.
We're delighted to have you. So Mala, many thank yous for coming on. As I said, when Maddie, a good friend of yours, and I don't even remember what year Maddie was in Cork. I messaged her, and as I said the other night, and Maddie Hermans, am I going to get it right?
Yes, that's perfect.
Yep. I messaged her and I said, "Are you up for playing a bit of music?" And she was like, "Wouldn't be set up." And you were the first name off her lips, and I said, "Yeah, I'll give this girl a message." And I'm delighted you played for us. Fantastic. Yeah, I suppose JC, thanks for being a fantastic guest, man. We could chat for hours.
We could. I don't think we've barely touched the surface today, mate. So.
Yeah, we could just have a JC show. We'll have you back on, man. We'll have you back on, man. You're coming back on.
Don't punish the people with that, yeah.
We'll have you without the White Hag lads the next night,
Well, like I said, I'm not sure you want to punish your listeners to listen to me for a whole hour. So.
No. We, as I said to you the other night, we're going to have to probably downscale the Houseflies Live going forward. With the beer house is going to probably open for outside dining on the 7th of June. Fingers crossed if everything goes well in the next month. So myself and Sean are probably going to have to sit down after the next one and figure out where we're going forward. We're going to go to 1 month or for the next few months going down the line. But
I do have a question. How's that outdoor seating going to go in Ireland, mate? You have to bring your extra umbrellas and wet weather gear every time you go for a pint, or
we're going into good weather.
You're in the
4 seasons, 1 day, but it's all right.
You're in the lap of the gods, man. We're not Barcelona. We're not Costa del Sol in Spain. We're not, Melbourne, Australia in the summer. This is Ireland. It rains. So
that's it, mate.
Thank God we're not Australia. I mean, what a poisonous desert island full of poisonous reptiles, snakes, like spiders, anything that can kill you, and not to mention all the convicts that just got shipped over there from years ago.
Mate, I've always said Australia is a great place if there wasn't Australians there.
Brilliant.
It's easy to say that since you're back, like.
Yeah, I only lived there 10 years. I can say it a little bit, yeah.
Yeah. I must say, I agree with you to a certain extent. I did 2011. I went to the Rugby World Cup in 2011, and we hooked up. I know you were feeling a bit ill when we actually should have had about 100 beers together, but you were on the weather for the couple of nights. I was in Wellington. But I did the Rugby World Cup back in 2011, and Ireland beat Australia, as everyone knows, 15-16 in the pool match.
Did you make the quarterfinals?
We made the quarters.
Oh
yeah,
yeah, you did.
yeah,
You did, but
we
you don't ever make it past the quarterfinals. That's
we lost to Wales in the quarters. Yeah. Anyway, but my story is there was 2 Australians behind me, obviously at Ireland, Australia, and they were just arrogant little fuckers. Like, I mean,
Sounds about right, yeah.
oh man, my best friend with me was sitting next to me, and he was like, "Would they ever just shut up? Would they ever just shut up?" Like every 5 minutes, they were like, "Oh, we're gonna just cut these fuckers open now any second. We're just gonna cut loose. We're just gonna. It's only a matter of time before we cut through them." And it did look touch and go. But
what Australia was that? Was that Mr. Magoo being an Australian or something? What the fuck?
Australian Indian. But anyway,
Australian gnome.
Oh my good golly gosh, David speaking Australian and a little bit of spice on the other side, yeah.
I'll take my finger out of my bottom. Anyway, we got to full time. We're up 15-6, all right, and it's into the last 2 or 3 minutes. I think the lads fucked off behind us because they just had enough. They were absolutely realised that Australia were not going to cut Ireland loose and not going to win. My buddy jumps up and he just goes, "Yes!" And he was like, "Fuck you fuckers!" And I was like, can you imagine listening to these 2 lads for 80 minutes? I just went, but no, I agree with you. Australians in their worst are just, but actually, you can say that about every nation, but the worst of them are just arrogant.
Yeah. And it's the same in the beer world over there, mate. You get the guys who are doing really well and they are arrogant as fuck, and you get the guys just battling through the middle, and they're normally the nicest guys in the world. So yeah, there's some top people over there. So, but obviously Kiwis are the best.
Yeah, but no, that's why I love New Zealand, because it was like a mirror of Ireland. It was just like you've got the big neighbour next to you, like Ireland and UK and Ireland and New Zealand, Australia, and it was just like the smaller, humbler country. I fell in love with New Zealand. I'd live there. I really would.
Well, I think it's very. I mean, JC, you're probably going to be able to say this, but what I've heard, New Zealand is very like Ireland, just from. Well, actually, New Zealand's better, but from the scenery and just the island, like not only the population total, but just beautiful green.
Yeah,
mountains. Yeah, but there's hills over here.
Yeah, there's like massive, like what we call hills here. I know an island in England they call them mountains. So where I live in Wellington, you got massive hills going down both sides of the valley, and in summer they catch fire, and in winter they get snow. So, but New Zealand is definitely clean and green, and it's got that whole kind of belief about it. But,
are you a hurricane?
Yes. We're going to get down a bad path here. I'm a Hurricane, and I'm also a Highlander.
Ooh, that's
supporter.
And
how's that work out? Well, I did university in Otago, so I always had a bit of affinity for being down there. But
so
for my punishments, I'm also a Connick supporter. So
how much would you want to be in the zoo? Mate,
what do you mean?
For those who don't know what the zoo is. The zoo is behind the posts in a closed stadium in Otago. It looks absolutely phenomenal. But I mean, it literally looks like it's like Dubai Sevens, Cape Town Sevens, pretty much every weekend.
Yep. Mate, I've actually been in the zoo. I can tell you something about that stadium. The stadium you're talking about is Forsyth Bar down in Dunedin. It's got the glass roof. Yeah. And what they have is each end of the stadium, they don't actually have seats. They only have seats on the side.
So what they do... Otago Stadium in Dunedin, yeah?
That's Otago and Dunedin. So what they do for big games... They literally put scaffolding and put seats on. So the end he's talking about is the zoo is the students' end. So they actually sell tickets for the students for like $10 when they're normally $20, for example, when you go to the zoo. And it's just full-on chaos because 90% of the people there aren't there for the rugby. They're just there to get pissed and jump around and play around to music. And I may have been in there a few times. It's mostly students and then some occasional random 40-year-old guy and his mate like me. But
you have everyone in their overalls. And actually, about 3 weeks ago, I think it was a Highlanders Chiefs game. Maybe I could be wrong, but one of the stands collapsed on the left-hand side. So you actually it was like a double platform, like a scaffolding, but it collapsed. So you had about 3 or 4 guys who fell, probably about 5 meters at least, or 3 meters. Like
about 2 meters.
2 meters.
It wasn't as high. It's about 2 meters, but that's the band. That's where the band was.
In Ireland, it's about 10 meters, but in New Zealand, we'll probably give it 2 or 3. You know, like we got to be health and safety worried about, you know, everything. So, but I mean, I think they were all right.
Same here.
What was the end result?
Well, they just got up and walked around and got back on stage and had more beers. No one got hurt. It was just literally a fell over, got up again. Hey, breathing tough down this way, mate. Not like those South Africans, you know. We actually get up and keep moving.
So. Sorry, who holds the World Cup?
Oh, jeez. You win one World Cup and then you run and hide and don't play anyone for a few years, yeah?
We've got 3. How many do you have?
Lads, I'll give you each other's phone numbers and you can have another bit of banter. You can tear strips off each other in private, all right?
Oh, that's all right.
All right, let's wrap this up and let Mallow play it out. Mala, sorry for the rugby chat there. The lads just
all
carried
good
away.
That's fine.
JC, we'll see you in about a month's time. We're going to get you back on, man. You're back
Sounds
on.
like a plan.
You're booked in. We're going to get you a couple of beers. You're going to buy your own beers.
Obviously.
We're going to try and mirror our beers, and you're going to pick up something amazing from New Zealand that we're just going to be frothing over and going, I wish I had that. Just to cheese us up. And we're going to have to. But you know what? We might even have it a little bit later, so you can have a beer in your hand.
We can figure something out. There's no problem.
We'll figure it out. All right, man. Thanks a million for coming on, man.
No worries.
You've been a legend, and enjoy the rest of your Saturday morning.
Mate, well, can I just say one thing before I go, mate? Today,
go for it.
Locally, it's the biggest club game of the year. Petone versus Hutt Old Boys Marist. Johnny, my boys, who are going up for the McBain Shield. So I'm literally leaving this now, and I'm going to go down to the club and start on the beers. So thanks for having me and warming me up for the day. You know. So,
are we talking rugby now? Yeah, rugby.
Oh, mate, the best club team in the world. Mate. Johnny's, yeah.
Thank God you said rugby versus fucking cricket.
And the boys will lead with a good haka, right? Each school has their own haka.
Well, yeah, they do, but not. I don't think the clubs don't. So it's going to be interesting anyway. But it's probably the biggest club game locally for the year, so it's going to be huge.
All right, get on the beer, man. Get on the beer.
Right.
Get on the beer. Stick in a couple of nice beers. Cheers, James. All the best, man. Enjoy the game.
See you all. See you later. Bye.
Bye. Mala, thank you for listening to our pub chat.
Crap
talk.
All good.
Yeah. Finish us out. Play out a couple of songs. And Mala, thank you personally for coming on again. You've been fantastic. All right. Well done.
Well, thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah. And
we look forward to having you at the beer house.
You know what? When we can travel. When yourself and Maddie are going on a holiday, come to Cork and
I definitely will come. I will.
You're welcome.
I want your shirt.
My shirt. This one. His shirt or my shirt. This one.
The beer house shirt. Yeah.
We'll organize that. We'll swap now.
We'll try to find one that has been washed without the mallow stench and that. But yeah,
I thought you wanted this particular one that smelled a little, you know. But no, you probably have to wait till we get a couple of smaller ones in because you'll probably be wearing this as a sleep shirt. Anyway,
that's fine.
Mala. Thanks a million, and you can play us out with a couple of tunes, and myself and Sean will jump on and say goodnight. All right, thanks, Mala.
Perfect, thank
Mala,
you.
Gonna play us out.
I have got a cover for you. This is John Denver. I think you all know the song. All my bags are packed, I'm ready to go, I'm standing here outside your door. I hate to wake you up to say goodbye, but the dawn is breaking, it's early morn. The taxi's waiting, he's blowing his horn. Already I'm so lonesome I could die. So kiss me and smile for me. Tell me that you wait for me. Hold me like you'll never let me go. I'm leaving on a jet plane. Don't know when I'll be back again. Oh, babe, I hate to go. There's so many times I've let you down. So many times I've played around. I tell you now, they don't mean a thing. 'Cause every place I go, I'll think of you. Every song I sing, I'll sing for you. When I come back, I'll bring your wedding ring. So kiss me and smile for me. Tell me that you'll wait for me. Hold me like you'll never let me go. I'm leaving on a jet plane. Don't know when I'll be back again. Oh, babe, I hate to go. And now the time has come to leave you one more time. Let me kiss you, then close your eyes, and I'll be on my way. I'll dream about the days to come when I won't have to leave alone. About the times I won't have to say. So kiss me and smile for me. Tell me that you'll wait for me. Hold me like you'll never let me go. I'm leaving on a jet plane. Don't know when I'll be back again. Oh, babe, I hate to go.
Wow, that was awesome. Okay, you got to go one more.
John Denver is one of my favorites, so I hope you like that too. I will definitely do one more. David, are you speaking? Because I can't hear you.
Again. Thanks for that, Mala. Mala, you should actually just run the show. Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah. You're obviously better with this technical stuff than we are, amateurs. I think Sean is.
Am I though? I have no clue.
I'm not muted. I'm there.
I'm just going to mute Sean. I'm just going to mute Sean for the crack. We're back in 2 weeks' time. We have Lyman Beer, Mark Lucy, another Mala man from Mallow, originally from Mallow, based in Dublin. We're going to bring us some fantastic beer, and we're going to find everything about Lyman Beer. Sean, final word from yourself before Mallow plays one more.
The mic.
Yeah.
You're muting.
Go on, Sean.
Gosh, this is what happens when old people get like controls with the technology. But yeah, we're going to have a really exclusive start from Lyman. That's something to really look forward to. So you're only going to be able to get that at the beer house. You'll have to be able to place an order or pick it up in person. Free delivery within 10 kilometers. It comes with Dave's beautiful mug at your doorstep. So, I mean, no fear about there. But, really looking forward to that. It'll be good. And then before we know it, we'll be back in the beer house.
Don't forget the competition I just thrown up on the screen there. Has anyone got the question right? What's the closest yet? Have any entries there for that?
Yeah, it was answered already. I think it was. I'll have to go back and get it, but
All right, we'll get it.
I've got the answer. I'm pretty sure it was Leon actually.
Someone got into the old Google machine and found it out. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was Leon.
All right, no panic. I hate giving them free stuff. Anyway. All right. Yeah. Good night, everyone. See you in 2 weeks' time. And Mala, thanks again for the 100th time. I warned you about this. We do say good night about 10 times.
You do.
This is
Goodbye. Goodbye.
All right. Goodbye. Bye. 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 And look, play us out. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Well, thanks again for inviting me. I love being here. And good luck with the other shows and the other episodes. And I really hope I can come one day to Cork and to your pub. That would be nice. The last song I'm going to play was the single from my EP. It's called Black Stains. And Black Stains was actually a conversation between me and my uncle. We had about how the country wasn't the same after the war. So there was a war in Bosnia in 1994, also when we fled to the Netherlands. And most of my family stayed there. I just had one aunt here that came with us to the Netherlands. So the rest of my family is still there. And I asked him, like, how does the country feel like? Like, what has changed? And he basically said to me, well, the mountains used to be green and the sky used to be blue. But after the war, it's all one. It's a black stain on like a gray day. It's all black stains. And that inspired me so much to write this song. And it really touched me and it was really emotional. So it's also, I don't know if you know any Croatian, but it's also going to be part in Croatian. So I hope you like that. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. And have a wonderful night. I hope one day the sun will shine again upon you, upon the city drenched in pain. But when you're ready to be saved, just make sure it's not all in vain. Moje srce je puklo kao grom. Kada oči zatvorim, ne želim se probuditi. Plavo nebo i zelena dolina u tišini plače zbog crnih godina. You try to explain the burden you have to live with each day, holding back the tears while I'm holding on to you. Moje srce je puklo kao grom. Kada oči zatvorim, ne želim se probuditi. Plavo nebo i zelena dolina u tišini plače zbog crnih godina. Please let go of all your fears. The dark times have long gone for over 20 years. streets will never be safe. Our minds will never know peace. What once was green mountains and blue velvet skies will now forever be black stains on gray canvas day. Oh, 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 Thank you so much.
I'd say you haven't heard a clap in a long time, have you?
I haven't actually, just my boyfriend, like next to me
Yeah.
here.
A one man crowd. All right.
Exactly.
Well, I'm glad I could do justice there. Like,
All right.
well,
Thank
I
you
wish I
so
could.
much.
I can't do the fast clap.
All right,
big
guys.
clumsy hands.
Good night, Mala. Good night, Sean.
Good night, everyone.
Good night, David.
Eva.
Oh wait, David. Before
Yes.
we say anything, we'll just take a clip from here. Like, just reminding anyone who would actually be on here for the homebrew competition. We have got that live, so entries are closing on Monday. If anyone would like further information, please contact myself on Instagram. There, you can hit up David himself, or pop into the Beer House or Bradley's, and we'll be glad to assist you with that. It's a really great prize, and cannot wait for the tastings. It will be done on the August bank holiday weekend, and yeah, looking forward to that. Thanks, Dave.
All right, cheers. So, Mala, before we let you go, and obviously anybody that was listening and probably might watch back, if they want to hear your music, obviously Spotify, Apple Music, can people buy your CDs, or what's the story? Or do you have EPs or CDs out there?
I have these physical copies. So if
Yeah.
you go to my website,
Yep.
it's there, malamusicpage.com, and you can go to music.
Mm-hmm.
You can order it.
You can give people. If they're unsure, just drop you a line on Facebook or Instagram.
Oh, that's also fine.
Yeah,
Always.
that's fine. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Perfect.
Yeah, there's 5 songs on it.
Fantastic.
Yes.
So when you come to Ireland, we want 2 copies, all right?
Oh, of course. Of course.
All right. Fantastic. T-shirts.
Thank you so much.
T-shirts for CDs.
Exactly. I like that.
I like that idea. All
I
right.
like that.
Fantastic. Okay, as I say, Ihava, Ashgrelda. Good night, Mala.
Tot ziens.
Good night,
Tot
Sean. Good night, Sean. Good night, Mala. And
Good
look,
night.
we'll chat soon, all of us, I'm sure. It's been a great show. Okay, all the best, guys. Bye.
Boom.